Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya, coming to you live from the broadcasting house here in Nairobi on this 20th day of July 2022. Welcome to the program. My name is Jane Wamboi. A day that so many people have so much to say post the deputy president debate that happened yesterday. We will be sampling some of your thoughts as we get to also look at what the papers have captured for us in regards to the matters that were addressed during that particular debate. But before we get to do that, let me allow my colleagues to join in on this conversation. Doreen.
Yes, a beautiful morning it is. As you've mentioned, there's really a lot going on in terms of just the conversation surrounding after the Media Council, together with the stakeholders, conducted the fourth session of this debate, remaining two others that are slated for next week, that is for the presidential candidates. But then again, the question still remains, do you feel as the Kenyans that your issues were addressed? Move from devolution, agriculture, health, cost of living, corruption, amongst a host of various other issues. Do you feel like in any way this debate sort of change, influence, shift your mindset on whom you're going to vote? This is just largely what is also happening out there in respect to the conversation surrounding the debate that took place yesterday. So much as that is happening, yet the cost of unga is not down yet. What exactly is happening with just 19 days to the polls? And the biggest question is that if this subsidy was there all this while, then why has the price of unga still remained at 230 for some months now? And much as the CS announced that it's going to come down from 230 to 100 from 18th, why hasn't that happened yet? Is this a cycle of basically what also happened in 2017? Well, let's see how all that will pan out. Nonetheless, we are here up and early to keep you abreast of what is happening in Kenya and beyond. Clearly a lot in store for you this morning on the show. Also later on the road, we shall be focusing on what is happening on Parklands, Westlands, as well as Kirinyaga Road. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Ray.
Well, good morning. Being July 20th, 2022, all eyes are focused on the campaign trail, and that is after yesterday's deputy running mates debate there. Martha Karua taking on Rigathi Gachagua, as well as Ruth Moshero and Justina Wamai. So much has been said on social media, and we welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1, and my Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. In any way, do these debates actually change your view of these particular candidates? Do they have a sway in the decisions that you are about to take in just under, actually 19 days to go to the August polls? Talking about the countdown down to the wire, we are having the World Athletics Championship underway at Oregon that began on the 15th of July and culminated on the 24th of July. This morning at 3 a.m., well, Kenya was disappointed after it failed to clinch either a gold, silver or bronze in the 1500 meters race there, where Timothy Cheruiyot was participating. But that is not the end of the road. We have Chepsol, who is going to be alone in the 3,000 steeplechase, so to speak. So we're going to be waiting to see what they're going to do in the course of the day. Actually, it's the 800 meters, but the 3,000 meter steeplechase, we have Selfine Chepsol, who is alone against, some of the finalists include athletes from the US, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Kazakhstan. Yes, we know what Ethiopia does when it comes to the races. They're our main contenders for that, but we wish them all the best. Congratulations to Faith, who bagged Kenya's first gold. We're going to be giving you the medal standings in the course of this particular programming. Now 19 days to go. What do you think about the preparedness, and as far as IEBC is concerned? These are questions that were raised, especially yesterday evening when the electoral body went live actually on various media houses, media outlets, as well as online, to just do a mock-up of how they will be broadcasting their live results. Well, if you never got a glimpse of how the electoral body intends to do that, well, you're in the right place. I'm Regina Manyara. Let's speak Matters News. Good morning. This is in the headlines, and I'm Regina Manyara. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission is warning that it might be forced to postpone elections in some areas that still have pending court cases. The Commission's chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, says delays in the determination of appeal cases by some aspirants will not be allowed to hold back the general election, and as such, areas might be left out. Chebukati spoke during the elections transmission and protocol guidelines launch, said the team supervising the printing of ballot papers will be leaving for Greece to oversee the exercise.
The electoral body is warning that some court cases are holding back the commission from going on with the printing of ballot papers. IEBC chairperson says the commission is concerned that such cases might jeopardize the planning of the elections and the affected areas might be blocked out of the 9th of August general election.
Decisions from the court, which will then throw the commission outside its timeline for 9th of August, we shall, as a commission, consider postponing elections in the respective areas if we are put in a position where we cannot be able to hold that election. So if the decisions from the courts are going to throw us completely out of balance, then we shall postpone elections for those elective positions only, and then have them held after the general election. So as a commission, of course, we are guided by judgments of the court. We are law-abiding, but again, when it becomes impossible for us to perform our function, then we shall be postpone elections in the for the respective positions.
At the same time, the commission revealed that a section of its officials, media and the political class will this evening head to Greece to oversee the printing of ballot papers.
The commission is devoting all its human resources in the execution of its primary role, that is planning and putting in place appropriate measures and mechanisms to realization of the credible and transparent election.
And in relation to Mike Sonko's Mombasa gubernatorial contest, the commission says it is yet to be served summons from the East African Court of Justice.
I don't practice international law, but I believe the areas which then we shall need our legal counsel to advise. So I think that's purely international law, and I believe that has... I don't even know whether we are parties in that case. I have not been served with the papers.
Well, still keeping up with matters election, where the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has assured Kenyans that the result transmission system will be used in the August 9th polls is accurate, safe and secure. Speaking during the testing and simulation of the election technology, IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati said electronically transmitted results will, however, be used only to generate provincial tally, as the commission must verify physical statutory forms before declaring the outcome of the election.
With 20 days to the August 9 polls, the electoral body IEBC conducted the second simulation exercise of the electronic transmission of poll results at the Bomas of Kenya.
The agents will be invited, of the political parties, to sign if they agree that those marks that have been written on that 34A are the correct ones. After they have signed, then the presiding officer takes a picture, an image of that form.
St. Anne's Primary School in Makadara constituency. We are ready to transmit right now.
In the exercise witnessed by members of the public, the commission deployed 580 presiding officers across a sample of 580 polling stations across the country in transmitting results.
St. Anne's Primary. Yeah, thank you. Maybe Kevin, you can take us to St. Anne's, Makadara.
Yes.
That particular form that has been sent will go through the validation rules. One, does it come from one of our registered devices? Secondly, the SIM card that has transmitted that particular data, is it registered to us? Third, is it a valid polling station?
And the KIMS kit is locked for that station. If you try to send another form or something else through that Kimskit, it will not be sent.
What happens where there is a dispute as to the Form 34A in its entirety?
During the testing and simulation of the results transmission system, the Commission sought to assure Kenyans of a credible process, as members of the public will be able to download and access all Forms 34As from the Commission's portal.
When the Supreme Court asked us, what do you consider as the result in 2017? We have an answer. Now, it is Form 34A. And those marks will be written by hand on the form and shown to people.
As we speak, the kits are actually being sent into the field. So you'll find the ones which may not have gone, and at least get the team to give you all explanations that you require. Avoid listening too much to social media and fake news. We are here to answer your questions.
However, electronically transmitted results will only be used to generate a provisional tally, since IEBC is required to verify physical statutory forms before declaring the outcome of an election.
Now, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties will undertake a trainers ahead of the August polls. Speaking during the launch of the Political Education Sourcebook and other training manuals for agents, the Registrar of Political Parties, Anderito, said agents are key players in an electoral process and require knowledge on electoral matters.
Underscoring the role played by the body, the Registrar of Political Parties, Anderito, said our office is concerned by the gigantic number of Kenyans who have no knowledge on what political parties entails and the benefits of belonging to such bodies.
The reason for this book, first, is to allow Kenyans interact with the political processes as defined in laws and as practiced in this country, as Kenya, and the gaps that we need to address as citizens, and try to endear Kenyans to political processes, because Kenyans sometimes avoid political processes and thinking that they do not affect them.
Beginning this Friday, agents will be trained ahead of the bigger task in the coming general elections as they are key ingredient in an electoral process.
Political parties kindly select agents carefully. We are giving this quick guide to help you even in the selection of your agents. One of the most important facts to select an agent is loyalty. Loyalty to the political party, loyalty to the political process, and believing in the ideas of that political party.
IBC is such an important institution given our history. And I can tell you this because there are many young people in this room, and I get very concerned sometimes, especially through this season. I have met young people who have told me, I don't know whether I want to vote.
At the same time, people with disabilities have called for civil and political rights inclusion in the entire electoral process, saying they are key stakeholders in the election.
And I'm grateful that we are here to actually emphasize on the issue of inclusion of persons with disabilities in the entire electoral cycle.
A level playing field for political parties and for the people to participate in elections as expressed as in RPP. So it is our great pleasure to support all the approaches of RPP when it comes to inclusiveness, working with SIG, working with the rule of law for parties.
During the event, a call for political responsibility by all Kenyans was also reiterated. Ruth Wamboi reporting for Good Morning Kenya.
Indeed, now away from matters of election preparedness, we talk about bilateral trade ties, where President Uhuru Kenyatta has challenged African parliaments to play their role in entrenching constitutionalism and good governance. Now, the head of states made the remarks at the conclusion of his 3-day state visit to Seychelles as the two nations embarked on enhancing vibrant diplomatic relations.
On Tuesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta visited the Vallée de Mai Nature Reserve, a UNESCO World Heritage Site on Praslin Island, Seychelles.
All rise, Mr. Speaker.
The head of state, who was on a 3-day state visit to Seychelles, challenged African parliaments to play their role in entrenching constitutionalism and good governance.
I do appreciate the government of the Republic of Seychelles for embracing the blue economy through the Blue Economy Roadmap, and this has earned the Seychelles the title of African Champion of the Blue Economy.
President Kenyatta said he is dismayed by the increase of the occurrences of unconstitutional changes of power in several African countries. He added that parliaments have a critical role in promoting African integration, saying it was because of their significance that the Assembly of Heads of State and Government established the Pan-African Parliament, which is based in South Africa.
I am pleased, Mr. Speaker, to note that Kenya and Seychelles are at the vanguard in protecting our oceans and marine resources. And we also look forward to strengthening our collaboration in these areas following my visit to your beautiful country.
Seychelles President Wavela, through the national speaker, reaffirmed the commitment of the two countries in consolidating the ongoing efforts to secure the Indian Ocean waters through the contact group on piracy off the coast of Somalia.
The formation of the earth has made us neighbors. This itself calls for us to be brothers and partners in promoting peace, stability, and development in our region for the mutual interest of our nations.
Now back to the campaign trail, where Deputy President William Ruto is pledging to reduce the cost of food in the country if elected to office in August. The DP, who spoke during the Kenya Kwanza campaigns in Ukambani, said his administration will empower farmers with subsidized inputs and financial bailout. Ruto says the increase on food and commodity prices is as a result of structural problems in the management of food production in the country.
The Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate was in Ukambani, holding a series of rallies in Kitui and Machakos counties.
Wapi kura ya William Ruto, nione wapi kura ya William Ruto.
Even with the subsidy offered by government on the price of maize flour, bringing down the cost of a 2 kg packet to 100 shillings, Ruto promised to empower farmers by providing subsidized inputs as a sustainable way of reducing the cost of food commodities.
Tunaweka pesa ya serikali kwa kilimo, tupunguze gharama ya mbolea ile inauzwa shilingi 7,000 saizi, tupunguze mpaka shilingi 2,500, na tuwasaidie wakulima wetu mbegu. Kila mkulima aweze kuzalisha chakula zaidi, aweke pesa kwa mfuko na chakula ipatikane kwa bei nafuu, ili kila Mkenya aweze kulisha familia yake na tuondoe aibu ya njaa katika taifa letu la Kenya.
The Deputy President blames the rise in cost of living to structural failures in the agricultural chain.
Ndio tunawaambia sisi ndio tuko na mpango ya kuzalisha chakula tuweze kuondoa hii matatizo ya njaa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Mtakubali watu wa Matutu tutembee pamoja? Matutu tunakubali tembee pamoja?
With approximately 5 million youths unemployed or lacking sustainable jobs, Ruto says his administration would set aside 200 billion shillings as the Marshall Plan for youth empowerment.
Katika hiyo Marshall Plan tunaweka bilioni 200 kila mwaka kwa textile industry, leather industry, agro processing, value addition, manufacturing, mambo ya housing. Ndio tupange ajira ya hawa vijana kama hatua yetu ya dharura, an emergency crisis program, so that the young people of this country can find a job to do and a business to do, so that we can get them out of the hopelessness that is there today.
Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza leaders rallied area residents to support the alliance, saying his team had high prospects of occupying State House.
Mtu amekuunga mkono mara mbili, alafu unakuja kumuuliza jina yake ati wewe unaitwa nani? Sio ni madharau? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Tafadhali munisaidie tufukuze hii mtu awaje kutesa watu.
Nyinyi watu wa hapa Lower Eastern, nyinyi mnahitaji maji, mnahitaji watoto wenu wapate kazi, lazima muwe katika serikali.
Hapo Ukambani, angalia vile tuko wengi hapa. 50% imeshahama, imekuja kwa Ruto. Ni ukulia hii, huyo mtu atashinda namna gani? Atashinda namna gani?
The Deputy President was invading Kalonzo Musyoka's backyard of Kitui and Machakos County, rallying area residents around his presidential bid, promising to protect Kalonzo Musyoka's political interests if he's elected to office. Tomorrow, the tour takes him to Makueni County and later Taita Taveta.
It was Jacob Kuria there yesterday in Kambani, and he continues being on the Kenya Kwanza campaign trail as it traverses the country with just 19 days to go to the August polls. On the other hand, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party leader, presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga, says he will turn around the country's economy and create more employment opportunities if elected president. He was speaking in a vote-hunting mission in Nakuru County. Raila also said he will seal corruption loopholes if elected. He said corruption is a major impediment to development.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition on Tuesday took their charm offensive to Nakuru County. Raila addressing various rallies in Gilgil, Naivasha and Maimayu, and later Nakuru town. Raila terming the coming election as critical to the country.
Nataka hii uchaguzi ambayo inakuja ni uchaguzi muhimu sana. Vile nimwambia nyinyi, haitaki kuona kama kura hata moja inalala.
Raila has promised to revive the economy, create more industries and employment for the millions of unemployed youth.
Mambo ya miundo msingi tutaangalia vilivyo. Mambo ya barabara, ninajua mimi ninajua mambo ya barabara. Mimi ile barabara ninajenga yote Kenya hii mimi ndio nilichora. Nikiwa waziri wa barabara na ujenzi, sio?
Raila at the same time faulted Kenya Kwanza for trivializing the current state of country's economy and rising prices of basic commodities.
Analalamika ati hii ni siasa. Yeye anataka bei wananchi wazidi kuumia. Hataki wananchi wapate afueni. Nyinyi mlikuwa mnalia sana. Nikamwambia Uhuru, watu wangu wanalia. Tumia mbinu teremsha bei ya unga chini.
Raila said his government will deal decisively with corrupt individuals in a bid to ensure no taxpayer money is lost.
Ni wale vijana wale wa bodaboda tutawasaidia kupatia pesa ambayo gharama yake pana juu sana, wanunua naye pikipiki badala ya kuendesha pikipiki ya watu wengine, na kuwafundisha mambo ya usalama.
Sasa lazima gharama ya maisha iende wapi? Na unajua ile kitu imefanya gharama ya maisha iende juu. Si unajua? Ile kitu imefanya gharama ya maisha iende juu ni ufisadi.
Ukifanya siasa ya kujaribu, siasa ya majaribio, siasa ya try and error, nyinyi mtapata shida ile hamjawahi kuona katika nchi hii.
On that note, we take a quick break. We'll be right back with stories that have been making headlines. To keep it right here.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best way to
we shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya cashback.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
I know God is holy. Protect your life if you wanna know.
I got a new name for them. We call them the weathermen.
On fire, Papa Bilateral. Why we pray that you and now you feel protect me. Can't trust a system we're designed to fail me.
People of the country, nobody going like we get far. We blind now, we just can't feel.
I'm living a dream, yeah.
Good morning. This is In the Headlines, and I'm Regina Mangara. Now, if you're joining us, we were just getting to understand what was happening yesterday in as far as news is concerned. And given that we have just 19 days to the August polls, let's look at what is happening on the campaign trail and the changing dynamics. Now, Usawa Kwa Wote Party leader Governor Mwangi wa Iria has officially joined Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party. Speaking in Nairobi, the Murang'a governor said he decided to support Raila Odinga's presidential bid after the two met and agreed to merge their manifestos. Governor Wairia has called upon his followers to back the Raila Mathe candidature, saying their bid can be trusted to bring the desired changes in the country.
3 weeks to the general election, Usawa Kwa Wote Party leader Mwangi wa Iria
Usawa na Azimio
has endorsed the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party leader Raila Odinga's presidential bid. Governor wa Iria, who was barred from vying for presidency by the IEBC, praised Raila for being compassionate and agreeing to accommodate his manifesto in his plan.
So I told him, Baba, if we can combine your 6,000 and my cow program can give 12,000 shillings to all peasant farmers in the country. That is $3 a day per household. The international poverty line is $1 a day, as prescribed by World Bank. And I told him that if I have to work with you, then the one home, one cow must be in our joint manifesto, the Usawa Azimio manifesto. And he said, if you agree that we work together, then we shall adopt one home, one cow program as part of Usawa Azimio manifesto.
The Usawa Kwa Wote party leader revealed that the move comes after he held a 2-hour talk with Odinga. Governor Wairia indicating he will be lobbying for a political seat should Azimio la Umoja form government next month.
This is the time now when we need that old man, I can tell you, whether you like it or not, so that we can sober up. At least there are things which you can't do, I can tell you. We now need a moment of reflection. We now need a bit of wisdom, because the speed at which we are going to destroy this nation. People are behaving as if Kenya is expiring tomorrow.
Mwangi wa Iria there speaking after his party that Usawa Kwa Wote joined the Azimio side. It is not a do or die, that's what he says. It's just a one-day affair and that we should treat it as such. Make the right decision. Now we cross over to matters business, where the Kenya Revenue Authority has moved to the High Court to vacate an order to reopen Keroche breweries, putting doubt to resumption of operations. The taxman says the decision goes against the previous court orders and the consent agreements signed by the two parties.
3 days ago, the High Court ordered the Kenya Revenue Authority to reopen Keroche Brewery's plant in Naivasha, pending the hearing and determination of a suit pitting the two parties over settlement of tax arrears. Although the ruling was a sigh of relief following the protracted legal battles, it was a short term as KRA has moved to court, challenging the decision allowing the resumption of operations at the Nairobi-based brewer. The Kenya Revenue Authority says the High Court order contravenes the previous directives issued by another court that ordered Keroche breweries to commit to a repayment plan to settle the tax arrears. In a statement, KRA Commissioner for Legal Services and Board Coordination, Paul Matuko, says, and I quote, "It is the authority's view that the case filed in court by Keroche and the orders sought to go contrary to previous orders issued by the same court, and the consent agreements arrived and signed by the two parties." End of quote. The High Court ordered Keroche to pay an initial amount of 8 million shillings as the first installment and pay a similar amount at the end of every month until the next hearing date in September. The ruling had offered a reprieve to the hundreds of workers who are staring at job losses following the shutdown of the brewery. In May this year, KRA shut Keroche breweries after the brewer failed to honor a repayment plan to settle 957 million shillings owed to the taxman in 24 months. Keroche breweries officials said the payment period was too short given the current tough operating environment.
We'll be keeping tabs on that. Now, the government has rolled out the livestock offtake program targeting 13 counties that are drought hit. Now, where livestock is bought and slaughtered and then distributed to households facing hunger. The program being implemented by the Kenya Meat Commission and the Kenya Red Cross Society targets to benefit around 267,000 households. Details of this from the corporate scene. The prolonged drought has left over 4.1 million Kenyans in 23 arid and semi-arid counties in need of food aid, and livestock hasn't been spared either. Data from the National Drought Management Authority indicate heavy livestock losses across the 23 counties, with assessments showing livestock losses of up to 70% in places such as Ileret in Marsabit County. To mitigate the effects, the Kenya Meat Commission and the Kenya Red Cross Society have rolled out a livestock destocking program targeting 13 counties. Under the government-funded project, the Kenya Meat Commission is providing oversight of slaughtering the livestock. Then the meat is distributed by the Kenya Red Cross Society to households facing hunger. And L'Oreal Professional Paris has partnered with professional hairstylists in Kenya to officially release its newest range of natural hair care products in Kenya that target the youthful population, popularly referred to as Generation Z. Kenya, Nigeria and South Africa are listed among key markets for hair care markets, with key market segments driving growth for hair care market on the continent. Finally, Kenya is targeting group travelers as a strategy to increase tourist arrivals as the sector recovers from COVID-19 disruptions.
As we kick off the evening, I ask that we continue in the same vein that we started yesterday. The vibe of being able to interact as women, being able to share ideas, being able to be sparring partners for each other, bounce ideas off each other is actually what this evening is about.
Long-lasting lifetime connections and networks such that we do have open communication and open networks to continue working together post this engagement. And I think this is a value actually of you coming to Africa on this retreat.
Tourism Principal Secretary Zainab Hussein says group travel is today a big catalyst to tourism growth in terms of numbers and receipt, especially in the post-COVID era, and that the government would take full advantage of its pooled travelers. Now to the sporting arena, where the Kenyan relay team to the Commonwealth game is confident they will have they have what it takes to bring back the gold from Birmingham. Now the team of 200-meter national champion Mike Mokaba, David Kivasi, Samuel Imeta and Boniface Moresa have been boosted by the inclusion of Hesbon Ochieng as their strategies for the top prize. Now they will be anchored by the fastest man in Africa, Ferdinand Omanyala, who will be looking forward to make up for his tribulations in Oregon with nothing short of success. The team is credited with Kenya's first 4x100 meters gold in the recent Africa Senior Athletics Championship in Mauritius, hoping to carry on with that to the Commonwealth Games.
In other international meets, but for Commonwealth Games, this is the first time I'm going there. In terms of preparation, psychologically and mentally, I'm well prepared. Physically, we're okay.
Tulikuwa African Championship, Senior African Championship, Mauritius. Tukamanage kuleta gold. Hiyo ndio tulimanage kuleta gold kwa relay. Mimi ndo starter wa relay. Na team iko proud, team imejiandaa vyema. Hoping tutaleta medal.
Preparation yetu imekuwa mzuri since tulitoka Mauritius. Tulitoka Mauritius tukakimbia trials, so at least tukakuja camp mapema, so tumekuwa tukifanya tu sharpening mahali kulikuwa na hiccups kidogo.
My expectation is to win. We are going to take it. We are going to win for the gold. We are going for the gold this time around, so that even the world can know that nowadays Kenya also are good in sprints, not in the middle distance and long distance only. They should also focus, or even the officials and Kenya as a whole, they should also focus on sprints.
Now just have a sneak peek of what has been happening at the World Athletics Championships at 3 a.m. this morning. Well, we lost to several contenders in that particular 1500 meters race, where Timothy Cheruiyot failed not only to clinch a gold, silver or bronze. He never finished in the top 3 positions, but nonetheless, thank you for the effort and representing Kenya in that particular feat. Remember, this feat ends on the 24th of July, and we are looking forward to several races. One includes the 3,000 meter steeplechase, and the finalists include Selfin Chepsol of Kenya, who is going to be trying to take on red-hot former Kenyans, that is Nora Jeruto of Kazakhstan and Winfred Yavi of Bahrain, and that is going to be happening tomorrow. And when you talk about the Kenyans men's 800 meter squad, we have Emmanuel Korir, Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Wycliffe Kinyamai and Noah Kibet. Now they are going to be trying to hope, or rather they're going to be they'll be betting on hope to run past the heats. That is going to be happening tomorrow. So all the best to the ladies and gentlemen who are participating in the ongoing World Athletics Championships. Just to remind you that KBC is broadcasting these particular races live, and they culminate on the 24th of July. Well, so we have a few days and a few races to look out for. In the meantime, get further details in regard to how the Kenyan team has been performing from our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. With that recap of what has been happening in the last 24 hours, we take a quick breather. We'll be back with the dailies.
Welcome back. We now move on with the dailies. I have a copy of the Daily Nation just to run you through what has been captured on the front page this morning. As you expected, clash of visions and principles. Just highlighting some of the key areas that were discussed yesterday by the deputy presidential candidates in that debate that took place yesterday, joint media production. On one side here, they say they quoted the words of Rigathi Gachagua, where he said, "We are a country facing economic challenges and will have no time for unnecessary fights with Ruto. We have a huge task ahead of us and we will not indulge in petty fights." Elsewhere on the other side, Martha Karua has been quoted saying, or rather was quoted when she said, "I will serve with honesty and my track record speaks of that. There is nothing wrong with the architecture of the Constitution. The problem is with the behavior of some of our leaders." Now, both of them went on to explain their visions and their plans, as well as addressing some key issues that were posed to them in the form of questions. And before that, there was also the debate between Root's party deputy president candidate Justina, as well as Agano's running mate, that is Ruth. Both of them also pointing out the key areas and what they would focus on should they be the next deputy presidents, in line with supporting their principles of their particular parties. So that has been captured here. Elsewhere, the other story is just in regards to the World Athletic Championships. Leap of faith, Stanley Waithaka and Helen Obiri might have warmed Kenyans' hearts with the silver harvest in the men's 10,000 in the men's and women's 10,000 meter races. But Faith Kipyegon's gold in the 1500 meters was the ultimate gold picking. Again, still a proud people in regards to the medals that we have received so far. Those are basically the stories that have been captured here on the front page of this particular daily. More stories have been captured in this daily, but we'll be getting to them in just a bit. But first, Doreen.
TTAC center stage in Gachagua Karua face-off. Obviously, this is just in respect to the deputy presidential candidates debate that took place yesterday, and the two differed sharply, particularly on matters to do with integrity. Again, Chapter 6 of the Constitution coming to the fore, whereby the former Justice Minister described herself as an honest and hardworking Kenyan. That is Martha Karua, the former DO. Whose 200 million assets have been frozen by court over suspicion of being proceeds of graft, maintained he too was clean. So clearly issues to do with corruption extensively discussed in that second tier of the debate as well. They also made public their wealth. That was yesterday. And again, when it comes to corruption, largely also how to deal with that. Clearly, again, also on the first tier, that pitted Roots deputy presidential candidate together with Agano deputy presidential candidate, that is Justina and Justina. The name eludes me, but that is okay. Justina and Ruth, Justina and Ruth. Again, also in that first year, matters to do with legalization of cannabis took center stage, and there's a lot of conversation surrounding that in respect to whether or not we should legalize that as a country, knowing fully well that in the African continent we have 10 countries who have legalized the use of cannabis, but this is respect to just commercial use that is for medicine as well as scientific purposes, and this took precedence after Lesotho legalized it in 2017 just for commercial purposes. But the question still remains, knowing fully well that that is illegal in our country, just how to navigate that. And away from that to matters IBC right now, as the chairman said that parallel tallying center is going to take in place, and this is just for the purpose of transparency and accountability of electoral process. This actually is going to be taking place whereby presidential candidates and at least 6 organizations, including media houses and the Electoral Observer Group, that is ELOG, will be watching and also counting. That is what is just basically being termed as the parallel tallying center. And lastly, to the politics of Unga and what is happening thereafter, even as the state had announced that the prices are going to come down from 230 to 100 shillings, which is supposed to take place as from Monday. But that is not the case yet, seeing that the state, together with the maize millers, failed to come to an agreement. And the maize millers also said that because of the old stock that are already in supply on the market, then they cannot be able to just bring down the prices of maize flour. But again, this is just, the Unga politics has brought forward with the Kenya Kwanza coalition, a good number of them terming it as a big joke. And this is in respect to the timing in which this is coming to the fore, knowing fully well that, again, 5 years back, we were also treated to the same, knowing that at that time the prices were about 142 to 143, but just a few weeks to the elections, that was brought down to about 90 shillings. So fast forward to 5 years later, the question that is being asked is that why then does this only just come few weeks to the election. And if at all this subsidy was in existence, then why has this prices been on an upward trend just for the past few months? Didn't the state was supposed to just ensure that we get the subsidies then? Why is just this coming at this time? And if they talked about 4 weeks, then where does this leave you and I after August 9th or slightly just after the elections? Regina.
Now, big clash of the deputies, and that is what this particular daily has chosen to go with as a big read, just looking at what was happening yesterday at the choir grounds where we had the deputy, or rather the running mates debate there. 3 women, 1 man who faced Kenyans fired all the cylinders in their pitch for the deputy president job: a straight-shooting lawyer, a steely former administrator, an apologetic weed promoter, and a determined social contractor. The mosaic of their talents was in full display. Beyond their glossy words and lofty promises, the real work is cut out for them. That's quite a kicker there, if you ask me, from the scribe who took this and wrote it and put it on a splash there on the front page. So we're talking about none other than Rigathi Gachagua, who was representing Kenya Kwanza, Justina Omai, Roots Party, Ruth Moshero, Agano Party, and Azimio la Umoja, Martha Karua. We've invited your thoughts in regard to what was happening yesterday in the deputy, or rather in the deputies' debate. This is a run-up. We're expecting the presidential debate that is going to be taking place on the 26th of July. Yes. So what is your view? Do these debates actually hold sway to how you are going to vote come the August 9th polls? Well, I'm optimistic, and I'm going to remain an optimism. I'm an optimist, saying that, you know what, we need to exercise our civil right there and civic right, so to speak, to cast our ballot there. So that is just but a sneak peek of the front page. It also goes further to highlight what is currently happening at Oregon with Kenya's first gold, and this took place, or rather was brought home by Faith Kipyegon. And also on the front page, the issue of funding. And if you were watching this particular debate, the question of where are the monies coming from to fund the campaign? Well, now Raila and Ruto splash millions on Facebook. This is in regard to a post that had been made. How many ads have been put out on Facebook and using the social media platform to push their various agendas? So there's quite an article there that details that. And on top of matters, funds and such, Kenya is set to get 28 billion shillings as a loan from IMF. But what are the conditions therein? Our business desk actually unpacked this, and it detailed that, IMF is also pushing the government to restructure KQ. That's the national carrier that has been on a loss-making spree over the last few years. From the courts now, Joey and Maribe differ over confession. Remember, this is a murder trial for business lady there who was supposedly murdered, or rather indicted over that. That is, Irongo lawyers described the statement sworn by Maribe as self-incriminating. Now, whereas Joey opposed the admission of the statement by Maribe a few days after she was arrested over the murder of Miss Kimani, the former journalist had no problem with her alleged confession being produced as an exhibit in the trial. We'll be keeping tabs on what is happening from the corridors of justice. Jane?
Now, before we get to close this segment, let me just run you through this particular story concerning IEBC based on the process that was happening yesterday, the second dry run for the technologies that will be used in this year's general elections. According to the IEBC, they outlined a four-step verification of the results from the polling stations before they are displayed to the national tallying centers. Now, during this particular second dry run that was happening yesterday, they went ahead to actually put them to the actual test, and they transmitted results from 580 polling stations, which are spread across the country, but mostly only results from stations within Nairobi were transmitted in real time. Results from 12 polling stations in Mandera County weren't transmitted because, according to this particular daily, The commission got information in the middle of simulation that the fiber optic systems had been interfered with in the process of transmitting. But nonetheless, the commission assured Kenyans that it had sealed all and possible loopholes that might interfere with the transmission of the results. And they further on went on to make this information public to Kenyans, that there are some other enhanced features that the commission said it will also include. This range from the ultraviolet light to check the security on the forms 34A that will be physically delivered to the national tallying centers. They contain some quick response codes, the QR codes, that are specific to them. Each particular form has a QR code that is specific to it and also specific to the polling station that they are from. And according to the IEBC, the KINS kits that will be used to transmit results have been configured to only transmit results from the specific polling station that they have been registered and attached to. They have been configured to not transmit any results from any other polling station, regardless of whether they are close to each other or not. So that is just a step in assuring Kenyans that they are making sure that all loopholes are sealed in this year's general elections. The dry run was designed to pick out the challenges in the transmission of these electronic copies, to just assure Kenyans that this electronic way that the commission intends to go is foolproof, and we can relax and rest easy with just under 20 days to the general elections. Elsewhere, in regards to the stories that had been featured here, yes, UDA and Azimio tussle over the Nyayo Stadium for the final rally. And ladies, just your thoughts in regards to this particular story, given campaigns are supposed to end at least 48 hours to polling time, and we can see these two particular camps fighting for the Nyayo National Stadium. Do you think it holds any significance, very briefly, as we get to close this segment, in where a party or rather a coalition holds their final rally? Doreen?
It's at the center of the city. I mean, you're looking at also good number of national events. They take place at the Nyayo Stadium. But then again, this is largely what IBC has kept commenting, and even the international observers, that it is time to ensure that we have peace. Because remember that these presidential candidates, they have weight even on their supporters. So if they can be pitting against each other on such grounds as who is supposed to have this space, then what message does it send to the supporters?
Regina, as you close this segment for us, looking at the fact that Nyayo Stadium is now on the spot, and according to this daily, actually Ruto's team had already paid the 1.5 million required to reserve the stadium.
Well, it's a matter of perception, yeah? And we look at the significance of Nyayo Stadium.
Yes.
However, in Kenya's history, other stadiums have also made history. Let's look back at, when there was a repeal in Section 2A of the Constitution in as far as multi-party democracy in the country is concerned. That took place at the Kasarani Stadium. So I tend to think it's all about a matter of perception. It shouldn't be an issue. We need to behave with decorum. And remember, after the August 9th polls, life continues.
Life does indeed continue. Yeah. Well, that brings us to a close of this segment. Thank you for staying with us this far. We do believe you're now best positioned to grab whichever copy best resonates with you. For now, we take a very quick breather. We will be back with more discussions that we have lined up for you. Do stay with us.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best way to wake
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party.
Semeni Babakea. Babakea.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya cashback.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
All I know is God is holy. Protect your life if you wanna know.
Got a new name for them. We call them the weathermen.
On fire, pan up Bilateral. Why we pray that you and now you feel protect me. Can't trust a system we designed to fail me.
People of the country, nobody going like we get far away blind now. We just can't feel.
I'm living a dream, yeah.
And before we embark on that first conversation of the day, time for us to quickly look at how the roads are looking like this morning. As I mentioned, our focus is going to be on what is happening along Ojiji Road, Parklands, as well as Westlands. And perhaps we can just begin from Ojiji Road. This is as you leave areas of Parklands coming to the city center. This is what you're having this morning. Not as bad, given it is the early morning hour, just 4 minutes after 7:30, so to speak. And this is that time where you'd be expecting to see heavy kind of traffic, particularly in this time of the morning hour. But that's not quite the case here, particularly around this roundabout, given it is one of those busy areas as it branches you off to areas of Parklands, areas of Westlands, as well as Kipani Road as you're coming to the city center via the Globe Cinema roundabout. This is how the section is looking like, moving at a swift pace throughout the entire roundabout. I mean, just by the characteristic of this roundabout, given the fact that it gets to branch off to major roads as well as slip roads, this is the reason as to why oftentimes you would be expecting to be seeing heavy kind of traffic just because of that, but that's not quite the case. But remember also, much as there had been ongoing roadworks, particularly in areas of Parklands and Westlands, this is also one of those areas that got to benefit from that. So it just simply means that that is really serving its purpose very well, because most of these road construction are just to aid and ease on the traffic flow, given that there's oftentimes every kind of traffic in the city center. But this is how it's looking like. Still nothing is changing there, moving at a swift pace. And also as you get to branch off to Ojiji there, as you head over to areas of Parklands, still moving at a swift pace, just a bit of a traffic as you leave the roundabout, heading all the way through this entire stretch before you get to branch off to some of those slip roads there just before you get to Parklands. Just a bit of a snarl up there, but still manageable kind of traffic. And again, this is why you're seeing that the difference in colors, they are clear indication of the traffic intensity around and along different areas. Away from that section, coming to Kipande Road as you're leaving areas of Westlands, still not bad at all. So for our viewers who are not using the expressway from Wayaki Way and still do not want to do the heavy traffic on areas of areas around just before you, as you leave Wayaki Way section coming to the city center, areas of Uhuru Highway there, if you do not want to make that heavy kind of traffic, this can be a very good alternative route for you. That is Kipani Road. Oftentimes serves as a very good route for those living areas along Wayaki Way. Of course, talking about areas of Kikuyu, Kino, Uthiru there, Westlands, areas of Lavington, coming to the city center. And the beauty is that this is actually being witnessed or experienced on both lanes of this section. So again, talking about both lanes just simply means as you leave Ojijo roundabout, coming to the city center just before you get to the Globe Cinema roundabout, and also as you leave the Globe roundabout, still coming through the entire lane before you get to the other roundabout, that is the Ojijo roundabout. So that is basically what I mean when I'm saying on both lanes of this section or this entire lane. But just before you get to the Globe roundabout, still using Kipande Road, there's a bit of a traffic. In fact, moving at a very, very slow pace. That red color is a clear indicator of that. Heavy traffic moving at a very slow pace, particularly or specific as you leave Westlands, leaving those areas around or along Wayaki Way, coming through the Ojijo roundabout via areas of Parklands, still sticking through Kipande Road before you get to the Globe roundabout. That is specific to that lane. On the other side, though, moving at a very swift pace. So if you're heading to those areas, still a respite for you and a smooth sailing because there's barely any kind of heavy traffic there. Also around the Globe roundabout, not as bad, given it's also one of those busy roundabouts. In fact, in the city center, this is the only roundabout that gets to branch off to major roads, minor roads, as well as slip roads and also highways. So this is why oftentimes you'd be experiencing and seeing heavy kind of traffic around this roundabout, but that's not quite the situation, at least as of now. Away from there, let's come to this other side. This is areas of Westlands there, given this is also one of those areas that I'd said we'll be exploring this morning on the traffic flow. This is how the area is looking like this morning. Not as bad as well as you branch off to areas of Chiromo Lane, one of those slip roads there. Not as bad, moving at a swift pace, and that is being witnessed on both lanes of this entire section. So still a reprieve for those coming from those areas. That is how, or that is what is happening there, particularly on these three routes that we were focusing on today. And remember that also largely what is informing us to focus on these stretches is because remember, the expressway was already completed in terms of construction and opened up to the public. So we're also just trying to track how all this is perhaps impacting and affecting traffic flow on some of these roads whereby people are now resorting to using expressway as opposed to these routes that were traditionally used by motorists. But at exactly 20 minutes the top of the hour, that's what you have on the roads.
For many years, the presidency and other government offices received numerous petitions from Kenyans of Asian heritage requesting the formal recognition of the community as a Kenyan tribe. 5 years ago, their wishes were granted. In July 2017, President Uhuru Kenyatta gazetted the recognition of Kenyans of Asian origin as the 44th tribe in Kenya.
In mid-May 2017, His Excellency the President received a petition from Kenyans of Asian heritage who requested that they need to be recognized as part and parcel of Kenya's family. And therefore, by Gazette notice, His Excellency the President accepted and legally gazetted the recognition of the Kenyans of Asian heritage as the 44th community of Kenya.
The recognition under the presidential proclamation came after President Kenyatta granting similar recognition to the members of the Makonde community, originally from Mozambique, as the 43rd tribe.
Yangu ni kuomba radhi kwa sababu imechukua muda mrefu ndio tufike kiwango cha kuwatendea haki kama Wakenya wenzetu.
At the National Museums of Kenya, a group congregates for a noble cause. It has been 5 years since President Kenyatta gazetted the recognition of Kenyans of Asian origin.
We feel proud because, one, after 100 years in Kenya, we are now fully recognized as a tribe.
The group is here to represent Kenyans of Asian descent to present the National Museums of Kenya with a calabash from the 44th Kenyan tribe of Asian origin as a custodian of natural and cultural heritage that will be placed at the Hall of Kenya.
I have got different sects of religious beliefs within the Asian community. We've got the Hindus, that is a religion now. Then we've got the Sikhs, we've got the Govans, who are Christians. We've got the Muslims, the Shias, the Bahuras, the Sunnis, the Ismailis, the Parsis also. We've got very small, minute numbers of 10 individuals. So it was to bring them together.
Prior to the event, a coconut is broken.
To wunja the coconut, even on a wedding, any function you are going to, and it's not just us, the Kenyan Arabs at the coast do the same thing.
To commence the event, a drama leads the group towards the Hall of Kenya, where the function will culminate. The Hall of Kenya is dedicated to highlighting the country's unique tangible and intangible heritage. It is in this gallery that Kenya's nature, culture, and history meet. The centerpiece consists of hundreds of gourds collected from different communities all over Kenya. Made from fruits of plants, the gourds vary in size, shape, and color. The gourds are used for storage, measuring, and fermentation. The centerpiece in the Hall of Kenya consists of hundreds of calabashes celebrating the rich heritage of all communities in Kenya.
The Kenyan calabash, those behind, were placed in 2007 by the National Museums. There was an organization that went around collecting calabashes from every tribe, and they were placed here. Okay? We have done it in conformity with the other tribes who placed theirs.
It is here where the group exhibits the calabash, a symbol of unity in diversity as a historical moment. The pioneers of the 44th tribe of Asian heritage, led by Farah Manzo, said this was a step in the right direction after the formal recognition by the president, which meant that all persons, bodies, and authorities within the country shall recognize the community in line with Articles 11 and 44 of the Constitution of Kenya, that protects the duty of the government to promote and protect the diverse cultural heritage of Kenya. This even as they called on the community to continuously play a more active role in society.
After the 44th tribe, I've seen a big impact. We have a young generation coming out to vie for elective posts. So pole pole, tutafika.
Reporting for My Culture, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Good morning. If you're tuning in, this is In the Headlines. Now we change gears and speak matters of agribusiness. Kenya prides itself as an agriculture-driven economy. However, where do the opportunities lie in as far as matters of agribusiness is concerned in DRC Congo? Why Congo? DRC has just joined the larger East African bloc, and definitely that is a place to invest in. 90 million market. Quick facts about matters of agriculture in DRC Congo is that agriculture contributes around 19.5% of the DRC GDP, however does not meet the demand of the population in as far as matters of food security as well as job opportunities, and that is where you and I as Kenyans come in. So where are these opportunities? Taking us through this conversation is none other than Christine Minor, who is the president and the CEO of the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And alongside her is none other than Kiringai Kamau, who is an agricultural economist and a social entrepreneur and promoter of capacity building in ICT and agriculture. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Karibu sana.
Now this, we speak matters current affairs on as far as matters Good Morning Kenya is concerned, and we are 19 days to the general election. What's your feel? Just one word, quick word. What is your feel about, where we at as a country and as we're heading to the August polls? Let's start off with the lady.
Yes, I think Kenyans are very enthusiastic when it comes to during the campaign times and elections. However, I am hopeful that that this elections is going to be a peaceful one. I think we've gone through a lot of issues from COVID to the economic uphill because of the war in the Russia-Ukraine. And so I feel that at this point, Kenyans really just want a peaceful process, make sure that the person who they choose is the one who's going to go into power peacefully. And I think we're just looking forward to really having a successful election and moving past this so that we can continue with back to our businesses and really get back to everything that we've lost during the last 2 years. Yes.
Mr. Kiringa, it seems that people are already seeing you on set and your phone is already off the hook. Would ask you to kindly either switch it off so that they do not, interrupt the show. But before we hear from Kiringa what he has to say in regard to where we are as a country ahead to the elections, just to invite you that this is a live interview and you can participate. You can get us on Twitter on KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is @RayManyara. Are you interested in tapping opportunities in DRC, especially on agribusiness? What questions do you have to my panelists this morning? That is none other than Christine Miner, who is the president and the CEO of the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce, as well as Kiringai Kamau, who is an agricultural economist and a social entrepreneur keen on capacity building as far as ICT and agriculture is concerned. Your turn, sir. What is your take in regard to where we are when it comes to, the elections from where you sit?
The elections present an opportunity for the first time where focus on food is so critical given the cost of food and the focus that is being given by both parties in terms of where they will touch bottom-up dimensions, touching on smallholder farmers and the dimensions of marketing their produce, and the same case with the Azimio dimension, where their manifesto is heavily agricultural and focusing on the social dimensions of reaching to communities. Mm-hmm. So I see a lot of hope for the agricultural space. It will be desirable that people realize that the most important is to look at what institutions are going to be in place as we move towards that direction. And a lot is actually already happening at the government level to support that. But more importantly, it's what people themselves will do, because food will be a challenge, but we are sure that the efforts that have been put by many institutions to actually ground people in producing food is going to be bearing fruit. Thank you.
Now, with that particular feel of where we are in as far as matters of food security, remember President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda included matters of food security, and right now the statistics indicate that 23 counties within the country are facing drought. So matters of food security coming to the fore. And this conversation is about tapping in opportunities in agribusiness at the DRC. Let's start off, Madam Miner, given your position as the president and the CEO of the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce. On a one-off, where are these opportunities? In what value chains can we actually tap in and improve our businesses?
Yes, so when you look at the DR Congo or Congo Kinshasa, there are countless of opportunities, because we're looking at a country that has had many years of war and has not yet fully developed. And so at the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce, some of our key areas of investment are agriculture, energy, ICT, industry, and hospitality and tourism. We do have other areas that we focus on, but these are really like our key areas of focus. Also, the fact that in Kenya, some of these areas are the leading sectors in the country. And so we are encouraging Kenyans who are specifically in these sectors to be part of the chamber so that we can assist them transitioning their businesses and crossing border into the DRC. Like I said, there are very many opportunities. We are looking at a market of over 90 million people. We're looking at arable land of 170 million acres of land. And just to look at the magnitude of that, Kenya has 14 million acres of arable land. So just imagine 170 million acres. And this is untapped. This is land that has not been utilized yet. And so we are encouraging Kenyans that, especially in the agribusiness sector, to venture into the DRC. And so not just in trade, matters of exporting and importing produce, but also agro production, where we can actually assist them set up their establishment in the DRC. And I think as we go along, we're also going to discuss all the incentives that come along with agro production that the government of DRC is offering to investors in this sector.
I'm keen on agro production because, you know, man has to eat to live, right?
Yes.
Now, Sir Kirinyang, we have talked about matters of having this arable land, and we're seeing emerging trends in as far as technology is concerned, especially where matters of agriculture, or rather agro production, is concerned. Maybe take us through where we are as a country when it comes to matters of ICT and agriculture. What are these emerging technologies, and how then can we use this to tap into that opportunity? We've been told there's vast land that is untapped for us.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I said, I'm Kiringai Wakamau, and I do support communities. I teach agriculture at the University of Nairobi, agribusiness. I am also a practitioner in agriculture and agribusiness, and I'm an advisor to the government on matters to do with the private sector engagement with the agricultural sector. I would say that as a country, insofar as matters ICT is concerned, we lead in many ways. One, Kenya has invested very heavily into fiber optic infrastructure that has made the country be the focus of innovators around ICT. Any university existing in the country is looking for solutions that people can give to address solutions in the agricultural space. So we have very many solutions that have been given, but more importantly, it is the institutions that are created to do that. In April, the Minister for ICT proposed the creation of 1,450 ICT hubs, which are from the government side in the Ministry of Agriculture going to tap into that, so that in those 1,450 ICT hubs, we also integrate agriculture into them. We have, as a country, invested in food warehousing, or warehouse receipting systems, which is an automated dimension into delivering technology to food storage. We have the government has realized that there has been very many diverse investment in ICT by various programs, and now coming up with what they are calling a unified agricultural platform, data platform. So and universities are getting into it. We have the University of Nairobi launched the Center for Agriculture and Nutrition, Data Analytics and Innovation for Policy Impact, and many other universities are doing the same. The Directorate of Research and Innovation in the Ministry of Agriculture, they have formulated what they are calling the data think tank for the agricultural space, which is centered within my center at the university. So we have a number of ICT interventions, and more so, we are the first country that has started now using the satellite infrastructure that is which has been supported by an institution that is associated with myself called the Global Open Data for Agriculture and Nutrition. So we have a Kenya Data Cube that will actually be now intervening in terms of providing satellite infrastructure even on small farms, and the associated dimensions of the grassroots to anchor that. Kenya now has a space agency which is working very closely with the Konza Technopolis and the infrastructure that we have in Konza. Many people only see Konza and see one building and think that that is the only investment Konza has.
Yes.
If you go under the ground, many of those who have visited that complex, you will realize that the investment that this country has made is so huge and so valuable, we cannot take that for granted. It is the reason, even when America was actually identifying who will be the next ambassador in the country, they had to pick an expert in ICT because Kenya is seen as a key driver of digital thinking. We have very many private sector institutions that are developing solutions for the agricultural space. Yeah.
So ICT is going to be driving agribusiness.
It is going to be driving agribusiness, and it is what is going to pull the young people more than is happening today in the agribusiness space.
Sure. Now, bringing back the conversation to the opportunities that lie beyond our borders, we cannot fail to talk about the cross-border challenges. One of them being access to markets and the lack of harmonized policies for trade. From where you sit, how are you going to ensure that these persons who want to trade in DRC and maybe are not even members of the Chamber of Commerce, the Kenya Chamber of Commerce, get their products there? What's the process? Where do you begin from?
Yes, so let me first say that DRC joining the East Africa was a very big advantage for the Kenyan market because with the processes that they are going through, we are seeing a lot of streamlining of the trade policies, customs, that means cross-border trading between the two countries. And so it's going to make it much easier once they lift the customs charges for Kenyan products or anyone else from the East Africa who's going to be taking their products to the DRC. So let me say, yes, the Chamber does support anyone who is interested in trading in the DRC. And one of the ways we do that, and we encourage people to get in touch with us, is number one, security matters. We are able to advise you on which regions we think that your products would do well, because we're looking at a country that is very vast. I mean, a country that actually has 2 time zones. And so when you're mapping the country and deciding where you should place your product, we are able to advise you based on the demand on the ground that this is where best your product would be placed. We are able to advise you on the logistics and the routes, the best and safest routes that you need to use. And so we do not just assist our members. We have information for anyone who is interested in trading in the DRC. Really what we want to see is a deepening of bilateral trade between Kenya and the DRC, and making sure that our investors are able to not only have a successful trade with the DRC, but also a safe one, so that we don't have, we just try to curb the fear that I think a lot of people have right now in thinking that I'm probably going to take my truck and then it's going to be stopped at the border, or some bandits are going to take my goods. So I think there's also a bit of a misunderstanding that this is not, the insecurity that is going on is not in the entire country of DRC. It's a very small part. And I think in our existence, or the reason that we are there, is to be able to advise you and let you know that you can still trade in the DRC. You need not to fear. All you need is someone to hold your hand and guide you on the right trade routes and the right distribution channels, because also you cannot just pick your truck with goods and decide that you're going to the DRC because you heard there's a market. We need to assist you with a proper distribution channel. And like I also always say that the culture in the country, the culture in DRC and Kenya, of course, is quite different. And just like any other greenfield investment, when you're getting into a new country, one of the most important things that you need to learn is their culture. How do you deal with a customs agent from the border? How do you deal with the drivers? How do you deal with anyone else you meet along the way, so that you have an easy process throughout your trade? And so that is why we are there. We do encourage, yes, for investors to be members, because we don't believe in a once-off trade. We believe that you need to have a continuous successful business, exporting or importing into the DRC, and that is why we are there. Yes.
Very well said. This morning we're talking about how you and I, as Kenyans, can tap into, the vast opportunities that the DRC provides. And now we're focusing on matters of agribusiness. Well, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
Finally, the wait is over. The Sundowner Sunset date is back. Saturday, 30th July 2022. The Grand Collabo, the gorgeous Catherine Donye and the wicked weekend man John Obongo Jr. together on one stage for the first time.
Meanwhile, some country.
Plus, Sir Elvis performing your favorite country hits live. All roads lead to the park in Kitengela, the land of Nyama Choma, for music, dance, food, drink, and so much fun. The Sundowner Sunset Date, the Grand Collabo. Mark the date, Saturday, 30th July 2022. Tickets cost 500 shillings at the gate.
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best way to
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Good morning. We're speaking matters agribusiness here and looking at where you need to invest and invest in what if you're looking at the DRC. And given that it is the newest entrant in the East African regional bloc. My panel consists of Christine Maina, who is the CEO and the president of the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce, flanked by Kiringai Kamau, who is not only an agricultural economist but also a social entrepreneur and promoter of capacity building in ICT and agriculture. The question of sustainability when it comes to matters of agribusiness. Here we have a 90 mil market. And top of my mind, I'm thinking, that's a market I'd want to tap in. From where you sit, Christine Maina, what would you like, your top 5 commodities in as far as agribusiness is concerned? What is selling in DRC? Maybe that's the question I need to ask. What is selling so that we can get it and supply it to them?
Okay, yes. So at the top of the list would be maize. Maize is one of the highest in demand products in DRC. We're looking at products like soya, wheat, and fruits. Fruits, I'm talking about oranges, apples, avocados, not so much so bananas, but yeah. So I would say, I know sometimes it's very difficult when someone asks me what products or what food products would do well in DRC. And the list is very, very long. The list is very, very long. And what I'd advise is that before you decide to, like you said, get excited and think about the 90 million and think about my bags of maize that I can take to the DRC, I would kindly advise that you do your research very well. And we are there as the chamber to assist you with information and market intel, so that, because you, for example, you probably have a lot of fish and you want to take to the DRC. not knowing that fish in DRC is dying of old age. So what are you going to do with your fish when you arrive there? So you need to, have the right information, the right market intel, because yes, as much as there's a lot of demand for a lot of food products, like I said, it's not all the regions that uptake all the products. There's some regions, of course, based on culture and how they eat and what they eat, that some products maybe don't probably sell very well, probably like avocados. You're looking at also products like chili. Congolese food has a lot of chili, so any farmers who are doing chili would do very well in the DRC. And let me also say that we are also not just encouraging trade, I would insist on this, but we are encouraging Kenyans to do production. Why are we encouraging Kenyans to do production in the DRC? Not just to feed the population in DRC, but also to feed the Kenyan population. Because we're looking at a country that has vast land, and so we're encouraging the large-scale farmers who can venture, whether it is wheat or maize in the DRC, sell to the market there, and also import, or rather export the food to Kenya. And so we're not just encouraging trade, we're also encouraging production.
That is agro production in DRC.
Yes.
Let's bring in Mr. Kamau. What is your take in regard to, Kenyans moving, large-scale farmers, I'm sure, moving from here to DRC to practice or take part in the agro production value chain? What are the advantages of farming there vis-a-vis farming here, back home?
Thank you very much for that question. The first thing about DRC is that much of the production that they have internally is smallholder. With a country that is heavy in terms of resources, land resources, which has adequate supply of rainfall, adequate supply of rivers that can be dammed, and therefore supply water in the event that 20% of the land there can actually be irrigated with water that is actually local. So in Kenya, we have challenges of water supply. Now, what we have there is that the key input into the soil that can support plantations is readily available. You have land. The government has said, if you want 1,000 acres of land, they can just give you to actually go and prove your capacity.
That's an incentive that has been given by DRC?
Yes, by the DRC government. The minister was here last week.
1,000 acres?
1,000 acres. Many Kenyans know the quarter acre. Now
yes, quota system. That's why I'm like, huh? What? 1,000?
Yes, I'm giving numbers so that people can actually just realize. If you are a joker, it is good to continue joking here. But if you are serious in producing food that you actually want to feed that country, and the market is local there. Number two, if you are looking for a country that is forever hungry like Kenya, and you actually want to export from there, and there are incentives for export by the government to export to your own country where you understand the market, there is no other symbiotic existence that there is now other than the relationship that we have between DRC and Kenya. And the question that you ask in terms of what are the opportunities in large-scale farming, that is an area that has not been touched. It is an area where investment is required. It is an area where Kenyans are very good in coming together and creating a big entity which can actually do trade in terms of food. That is where we were during the previous regimes, and we actually had enough to eat. We have now parceled our lands, divided it into pieces that are not quite beneficial, but we actually now have an opportunity of the mistakes we have made. If people get together, they can actually go and create an enterprise that can work in DRC, doing business in DRC, and exporting food to those of us who are forever hungry.
Yeah, we are forever hungry. If you look at even where we are right now, we are already having this conversation about the price of unga. You know, but if just top of your mind, how did we get to this point? Since you're already in the value chain when it comes to matters of agriculture, Mr. Kamau, how did we get to 250 shillings for a 2 kg pack of maize flour?
It is structural. We don't have the structures for conserving what we have, and we don't have a good strategy on how we want to sustain our eating and health production so that we have sustainable food. We actually lack the structures. We also have lack very clear strategies on food security. We also lack the systems to monitor. We actually, you may be surprised that there are still some people who have a lot of stock of food, but the logistics of moving from where the food is to where it is needed most, where it can actually fed better prices. Because the big noise makers that make the prices go high are not the producers, because the producers have the food, but the ones who are selling so that they actually scare the government now that there is people are campaigning. They are also playing a role in terms of creating panic that we don't have food, import, you don't have enough. The minister doesn't understand. It is all a lot of hype. We do have food. I can assure you Kenyans are not hungry. The food is expensive, but it is not being driven by the economic dynamics. It is being driven by the political wind that we are in. So we will actually be back to where we are supposed to be, and food will be affordable. You will be surprised when the elections are done, food prices will come down, not because we have imported, but because now there is no one hyping the cost and telling people that there is no food. And therefore, those ones who are, in Kenya, they are called cartels. The cartels who actually process the food will actually not be having who to go and appeal to, so that the cost of the maize can actually go high. So we don't have such a huge hunger in this country. We only have very high decibels of political tones. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sad. We are just 19 days. I hope we can keep strong till the 19 days are over and we get back to, you know, at least a packet of unga retailing at 90 shillings is affordable. Is affordable. 90 we can, but now 250?
No, we only need now to go to DRC, and within a period of a short time, you have enough plan to actually export. And the DRC government, of course, they will eat some of it, but they don't only eat maize like we do. As we will drink uji in the morning, eat ugali for tea time, and lunch and evening.
And dinner.
Yeah. So we have opportunity to actually get our production being done in DRC. Now you can do it by road. We can do it also by railway. And very soon we will actually be
big flights.
Yeah. So and right now you actually don't require a visa. You don't require a visa to go to DRC.
Now let's address now the incentives. Why would I be looking at investing in DRC from where you sit? What are the incentives?
Yes, so apart from the fact that DRC is one of the very few countries in the world that will give you one of the highest return on investment, let me first revert back to the Agribusiness conference that we just concluded last week. We had investors in the agribusiness sector who came for the conference and were able to be privy to the incentives that the government is offering. One of them, like Dr. Keringai said, is land. There is land allocation for agro production for investors who are interested in serious agro production, as long as you can present your plan or your business plan or that which you want to invest in. The Minister of Land assured us that they are willing to support us, and they are supporting the Kenyan investors who are interested to get into production in the DRC. And by following through, we had a few of our investors who are able to follow through. And very soon we are going to be announcing the land allocation to some of the investors who are in attendance of the Agribusiness conference. So that was also a success on our side. And so, yes, those are some of the incentives that the government is offering, that for any serious investor in agro production, the agenda of the DRC government is really to push for agribusiness. They're calling it something like revenge mining or revenge agriculture, where the Congolese are being advised or being encouraged that when you mine and you remove your diamond, replace it with a seed, and you cover the soil, even if it's just for your own food, so that there's focus is not so much on mining, but also on agribusiness, and especially just production at the household level for food. And so apart from that, some of the incentives also are, if you're producing in the DRC, there are a lot of custom exemptions when you want to export the food from the DRC into Kenya. And that's why, like we said, we are encouraging investors in large scale to invest in the DRC. Why? First of all, you have allocation of land if you have a serious investment and you can prove that from the Ministry of Land. And secondly, you are exempted from customs, from a lot of the taxes when you want to also export, and also given some tax incentives within a given period of time during your production. So this is really one of the sectors I would say that any investor would have very high return on investment. This is one of the sectors that the DRC government is fully focused on encouraging investors and also encouraging their own local Congolese to really go into. And like I said, as the chamber, we are there to support you. We're there to give you all the information that you require, so that we're able to come back with successful stories of investors in Kenya who actually went there and able to succeed. Yes.
Is the DRC a place where a startup can actually invest in as far as matters of agribusiness, or does one need to have grounding back at home to invest there? Can you just, like, that is your first investment, or that is your first venture in DRC as far as matters of agribusiness are concerned?
Definitely. I think for any business, as long as you have the skills and you have the knowledge around the business and you have a good plan, you can definitely venture into the business. You don't necessarily have to have a background. It does help if you have a background, because you are looking at starting a business in a new country. So there are a lot of dynamics and challenges that come along with just simply starting a new business in a new country. So if it's a new business for yourself also, there are a lot of challenges that come along with it. But yes, it is possible. Of course, if you have someone to hold your hand, if this is your first investment and you're not a farmer and you've never been in agribusiness, as long as we guide you and we walk you through, this is something that can be done easily. Yes.
Kiringai, what do you think about, investment? I said, you said we are perennially hungry as a country, and this is something that we can tap into. But what other opportunities from where you sit do you see, like there are low-hanging fruits for Kenyans who are hungry for investment as far as DRC is concerned?
The investments come in agriculture, or in everything that you do. The best is to actually look at, do you have a market for anything that is needed? On the other end, we have said that they have virgin land.
Yes.
Virgin land in a country that is very heavy in machinery. We know that anybody who is in the industry of supplying inputs into productive agriculture, if you are in that business, so that any input that you have, whether you are talking machinery, whether you are talking seed, whether you are talking knowledge, whether you are talking technology, that can serve a huge number of people across the country in bilingual, multilingual dimensions, because they will speak French, they will speak French, they will speak English, they will speak is their own language, Lingala. So they will actually have diverse languages, and you can actually now even people who can help translate. And like we saw in the case of Rwanda, when they actually transformed into from French into English, teachers are needed. We will be having opportunities for teachers because they will also be looking for unifying a medium of communication. They speak Kiswahili, and we also do speak Kiswahili, but teachers in Kiswahili are not as many.
Yes.
So we'll actually be having people who can teach Kiswahili going in there. So what I'm saying is that you actually have the opportunity for physical infrastructure, for services in ICT, for services in knowledge, for services in extension-driven agriculture, and the organizational thinking behind that, so capacity building. And when you go there, you will find, because they have not been organized for a long time, they don't have any businesses that can actually be said to be taking advantage of the opportunities that lie within there. Kenyans are not only good in getting hungry, they're also good in creating opportunities for entrepreneurs. So we'll actually go there and train people. We have CPAs. We don't have enough CPAs within the African region. Yes. Kenyans can support that. And in DRC, they will actually become many because startups require compliance to the law. Yes. Now the law is being created. Policy is going to be a critical expectation. People working and supporting the government will be required. There are many donors coming in. They will actually require knowledge workers. So let me say that the question that you had asked Kristen on whether somebody can actually go there and just get started. There is no point being jobless in Kenya.
Oh wow! I think we need to take that again. We need to take that again, because the issue of unemployment is something. It is a bane that this country has dealt with for eons, and this, I think, from what you say, presents an opportunity to correct that. Go ahead, Mr. Kiringai.
Yeah, I myself train and teach young people on entrepreneurship, agripreneurship, let me say, and show them how they can create enterprises to take advantage of opportunities. And I keep telling people, there is a small book. It is called the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. The first law in that book says it is better to be fast than to be better. Now, many people wait until they actually can hack it properly so that they actually venture. I keep telling people, if you really have the capacity to get started, even when you don't have any knowledge, get there, get started. Let opportunities find you there. Let the market see that there is something about this person. And that is why, if you actually look at the history of even our country, people came from rural areas into Nairobi. Those who were the first are now controlling huge chunks of investments. Not because they had knowledge, but because opportunities found them and they were able to adjust to the environment. So it is better to be there first. See where the opportunities are. The mind of a human is actually always so adaptive. It will be able for you, when you are there with jobless, to actually start even cooking for people, and in the process you actually are scouting for an opportunity that will find you there, and we know how to do that. If they love eating ugali and they don't know how to cook it properly, just go and cook it. It doesn't matter whether you have a degree. By the time you actually have a few people coming to eat there, you'll be serving one of the richest men, and they will be your partner in investing. So there is a lot of opportunities down there. I sat and talked to them. They are waiting for what we can actually offer the government in terms of support so that they can actually create enterprises. So I am waiting for our youth to come and tell me we are ready to go to DRC, and then I will actually be organizing them. And the minister told me, bring them, organize them, let us see what can be done. This is a collaborative engagement between them and my center at the university, and we will actually be able to guide them through the DRC chamber. And we would actually see that. Are
you just targeting youth? And when you say youth, you know, it's very fluid. Youth is anyone who thinks they're youth. But what youth are you targeting now? What age group? Age bracket, so to speak? Everybody qualify?
You know, in a country where you have land that has not been tilled, even education is irrelevant.
Yes.
Even a person who actually knows that I can go there and so long as you give me some ugali, I can actually work the soil. That is, there is opportunity for you there.
I like what you say. Provided you're able-bodied and willing,
yes,
you can actually take advantage.
Able-bodied and willing, those who have the capacity to actually think processes and planning and policy, anybody who actually has the desire to look for the opportunity and relocate because they know they can think broadly in a new environment, that is the place to be.
Parting shot, Christine Maina, we've heard so much from Kiringai. I'm already thinking I need to pack my bags and just take a flight. There's actually a flight to go to Goma and land there and invest. Now, parting shot in regard to, investing in DRC.
So yes, something I always say, I know that we've had a lot about the potential in DRC. We've had a lot about the opportunities in the DRC. And like we said, a typical Kenyan is an aggressive Kenyan who would think, I will definitely pack my bags and go there. But there's also something that I always like to address, and these are the risks and the challenges. So that when you in that country and you meet some of these challenges and risks, you don't say that probably this was not addressed or you really never knew that this was happening. So number one, like I said before, security. I'd like to assure our investors that it's not that the whole entire DRC is insecure. We'll be able to advise you on the regions that you need to trade. Secondly, we need to look at the fact that a lot of people are afraid of the language because, number one, English is not an official language in the DRC. Probably the language that we share is Swahili, and we're only looking at the eastern and southern parts that speak Swahili. So majority of the DRC don't actually speak Swahili. But when you look at the investment, the countries that invest in DRC more than Kenya does, they actually don't even have Swahili. So you're looking at a country like South Africa. South Africa trades more with DRC than the entire East Africa combined. And when you look at South Africa, they only have English, and the DRC don't speak English, so they don't have Swahili, they don't have French. But yet South Africa trades more with the DRC than the rest of East Africa. And so I'd also advise the investors not to be afraid of the fact that there's a language barrier. I think with business, and as long as you can count and understand your money, the rest will really come along. And so also let me also address a few issues on maybe past stories or past incidences that a lot of people have had of a lot of business people. I get asked very many questions. Someone asked me once, will I go there and the government takes over my business? I mean, these are real concerns. You'd be surprised. And I just want to assure you that no, the DRC government, more than anybody else, is supporting investors that are coming into the country. I mean, over the last about 10 years that I've interacted with the DRC, I have seen so many changes in the country, so many changes, so many incentives, so many policies that have been changed, all to make sure that it's an investor-friendly country. And so you should not be afraid that you're going to start a business and then probably someone in government will come and talk. That does not actually happen.
I think it happens in the films.
Yeah, as long as you're on the right side of the law, and this is what we tell people, that when you come to us, we're going to show you how to do things right. Let us not cut corners, because when you cut corners, it will bite you in the back eventually. So you're going to a new country and you really want to make your money really fast. No, we advise Kenyans, just be patient. Of course, you're in a greenfield investment. Be patient. Allow us to show you the direction that you need to go. I know a lot of people will come to you and tell you, my uncle is this, my father is this. And yes, it's okay if they can help you. But as long as you're within the laws of the government, then you're really not going to be in any problem at all. However, the government is very much supportive of the investors, and we are also very grateful for the support we've also received from the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce from government, and also the fact that now the visas have been lifted and we can freely travel into the DRC without a visa, and also Congolese can come into Kenya without a visa. So these are some of the improvements. I think we keep seeing so many improvements every other month, and it's quite encouraging to our investors.
Yeah. Very well said. My panelists, they're quite encouraging, giving us a reason why we should invest in DRC. They're the latest entrant into the larger East African regional bloc. I have been speaking to none other than Christine Miner, who is the president and the CEO of the DRC Kenya Chamber of Commerce, flanked by Kiringai Kamau, who is an agricultural economist as well as a social entrepreneur and a promoter of capacity building in ICT and agriculture. Take home is that you do not need any, special kind of academic qualification or even knowledge in matters of business. You just need to be ready and willing to learn on the job, on site. No visas for Kenyans to access to DRC, and the government down there is ready and willing to accept those who want to invest in the greenfields market. Remember, a 90 million market there. And when you talk about agriculture, agriculture accounts for 19% of the country's GDP. However, they cannot sustain matters of food security given to the growing demand. And also, as we've heard from Mr. Kamau, as Kenyans who are talking about matters of food security, we are perennially hungry. Well, you can look at that in as far as investment is concerned, with land allocation about to be announced to those persons who took part into the recently concluded forum between DRC and Kenya's investors. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant day ahead.
Nimesahau koti langu ndani. Kaini.
Are you guys fighting again?
Yeye alikuwa anatumia tu opportunity kukuzengua hivi ya kuibia pesa na una ujinga huo. Oh, kwa hivyo ndo maana ukamteka nyara, sio?
What is going on? It's my mom and my dad.
Niachie mwenyewe matatizo wangu bana.
Sitaki maji lolote. Unajua utakasirika sana. Na tena inaweza kufanya relationship yetu iende.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party.
Semeni Babakea. Babakea.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya cashback.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
Finally, the wait is over. The Sundowner Sunset date is back. Saturday, 30th July 2022. The Grand Collabo, the gorgeous Catherine Donye and the wicked weekend man John Obongo Jr. together on one stage for the first time.
Meanwhile, some country.
Plus, Sir Elvis performing your favorite country hits live. All roads lead to the park in Kitengela, the land of Nyama Choma, for music, dance, food, drink, and so much fun. The Sundowner Sunset Date, the Grand Collabo. Mark the date, Saturday, 30th July 2022. Tickets cost 500 shillings at the gate.
6 years ago, life took a turn for Jasmine, not her real name. This is after she gave birth to twins. After bringing the twins home for shaving as culture dictates, no one was ready to receive her.
Mama ndiye alinyoka kama mamazo miezi 4. Majina akakataa kaniambia mimi mwenyewe niweke. Hata ndio mimi nikaitako tu ya kimila kama huko kwetu tumezoea twins. Huyu anaitwa Mokwana, huyu anaitwa Mdogo. Mdogo ndiye anaitwa Mdogo.
For many communities, the birth of a child is a blessing. However, in this case, the birth of the firstborn twins was neither celebrated nor welcomed. It was seen as a curse. For Jasmine, this was a devastating time in her life. It is believed in some Luya sub-tribes that the birth of firstborn twins is a curse and one of the babies must be killed or the wife is separated from the husband, as it is feared this will cause premature death to him. Jasmine fought hard to keep both babies alive.
Walikuwa wamefinya mtoto paka hapo pamefura. Wizi. Mtoto akipumua. Mimi niliweka nduru paka watu wakaja. Walinichapa. Alinichapa na si ati bwana hakukuwa alikuwa hapa kaniambia usipokubali Kenya wazazi wangu anaamua utakaa.
She recalls how she almost lost her sons, now age 6, due to what she terms retrogressive traditions that do not allow twins to live.
Kuna mtoto mmoja hapo alininyang'anya. Nikafuata mama wamefungia kwa room. Hiyo siku nilipigwa na baba mmoja, mama mmoja plus mashemeji zao. Wameninyang'anya mtoto andaka waue ati kimila ya Waisuha wanaua mtoto. Wanaona venye wanatoka wawili. Huyu wa pili mwenye anafuata ndakana wamuue ndio uishi. Sasa venye nilikataa hiyo kitu ndio janzi kazi hapo kusumbulia.
Jasmine, who still had to live with her husband, was in a dilemma. With time, the children became aware of the obtaining situation.
Watoto washaokopa, wanaenda wanacheza, hata wakitaka kucheza wataenda tu kwa barabara na matairi. Mama, si wataweza tuwekea sura. Baba yao akiingia, akifika hapo kwa gate, inatakana kuwa ameanza kuchapa watoto.
Protecting her children has become her first duty every day.
Nishaokopa. Kwa shule na upelekanga asubuhi. Wanarudi saa 9. Lakini watanipata tu hapo. Nifanye shughuli zangu mchana, watanipata.
According to a section of the Abaluya elders, the tradition is not practiced across all the sub-tribes. The elders say that the practice is considered outdated and other measures have been introduced to counter the practice. However, until herbs are administered to the mother and her children, they are not allowed to interact with others. A concoction of herbs is administered to cleanse the mother and welcome the children into the family. At the same time, the mother to the twins is not allowed to consume any food from the family until she is given traditional herbs to immediately avert the death of one child or one of the parents. In some instances, they perform a rite which involves stealing food from the neighbors. This is the first meal that ought to be served to the mother after the delivery of twins.
Lazima hawatakula chakula cha shamba hiyo mara hiyo ya kwanza. Watatumia kwenda kuchuna mboga kwa shamba ya mtu mwingine. Yaani watumie kama wizi, mwenyewe asijue. Mwenyewe akijua tena itakuwa na kesi fulani.
The mother is then required to breastfeed the babies at the same time. Adding that if one child dies, the other one is not allowed to see the grave and should not be in the compound, since it is believed one can die if she or he sees the grave of the departed one.
Au hata awe mtu mzima, hata sikwa kama mwenzake yuko hapa, hata haona kaburi. Atakaa mbali mpaka wamalize kusika na wafuniko ya kaburi, ndio huyo mtoto akuja kwa boma.
Among the Isuka sub-tribe, the twins are referred to as true children rather than twins. However, in the advent of modern religion, the practice has been termed as outdated and retrogressive, with the community resorting to the use of herbs.
Kuondoa hiyo miko fulani na naweza ishi. Wasipofanya hivyo, walikuwa na nia kusema huyo mtoto, watoto wakikuwa lazima msasi mmoja atakufa.
The elders say the culture of abandoning twins or killing them has no place in present society, adding that in the past, twins or any form of multiple births were regarded as taboo, and one of the babies had to be killed in a ritual meant to appease ancestors.
Katika maofisi ama katika manyumba za kina watu wananyonga watoto makusudi, ni watoto ambao wana mila mbaya ama wamesaliwa kwa upaya, wanaweza uwa jamii yote. Tunaomba serikali ichukue hatua iwezekanavyo, hii familia ijue kwamba sheria inasema nini kuhusu mtoto ambaye amesaliwa. Mambo ya mapacha na kuuawa hatutakubali.
Wasipofanya miko, huenda mtoto mmoja ataaga au huenda msasi mmoja ataaga. Kwa hivyo lazima wafanye mila.
However, the elders say twins are still considered a curse among some Luhya sub-tribes, but rituals are done in secrecy. Reporting for My Culture, I'm Jackie Wambiru. Dr. Sally Jepngetich Kosgei was the second woman to become a permanent secretary in 1991 after Margaret Githinji, who was PS in the Ministry of Commerce. President Daniel Arap Moi trusted her with some of the most difficult tasks of his 24-year tenure. Beneath her quiet and media-shy demeanor was a skillful schemer, so good at behind-the-scenes mechanization that she was able to survive in a field crowded with men. Her reputation preceded her in Kenya and in global diplomatic circles. Many Kenyans remember her weeping outside State House, Nairobi in 2002 as President Moi was airlifted to his Kabarak home after handing over the reins of power to his successor, Mwai Kibaki. It was a solemn moment. Kosgei was born in Aldai, Nandi district in 1949. She attended Alda Primary School before joining Alliance Girls High School for both her O and A levels. After high school, she went to Dar es Salaam University, graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Education. She taught briefly at Nakuru High School and the University of Nairobi before she won a scholarship to pursue Masters of Arts and PhD degrees in History and Political Science at Stanford University in California in the United States. Between 1978 and 1981, she taught at the University of Nairobi's Department of History and Archaeology. In 1981, she joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the first Secretary of UN Habitat. She then held the position of Senior Assistant Secretary Africa and Organization of Africa Unity, OAU, Acting Head, Africa and OAU Division at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In 1984, Kosgei became Kenya's High Commissioner to Zimbabwe. She was transferred in the same capacity to the United Kingdom as well as Ireland and Switzerland in 1986 and held the position until 1992. She represented Nairobi in London during a time of strong political headwinds, with the clamor for multi-party politics growing. President Moi and other African leaders suddenly found themselves out of favor with their foreign allies as the Cold War ended. President Moi was facing a legitimacy crisis as there was increased suppression of free speech and many opposition leaders were being jailed. Notably, the February 1990 killing of Dr. Robert Ouko, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and the ethnic clashes of 1992 were some of the issues that Kosgei had to grapple with during her time in London and during her formative days as PS for Foreign Affairs under the Cabinet Minister Ndolo Ayao. Kosgei vigorously defended Kenya and at one point issued a rebuttal to the British media on its coverage of the unraveling events in Kenya in the late 1980s and early 1990s. As for breaking through the proverbial glass ceiling, she was a diplomat at a time when nearly all the 150 Kenyan foreign missions were headed by men. In December 1991, Kosgei was appointed Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and was sent to restore Kenya's image abroad following the ethnic clashes in Rift Valley province. She was transferred to the Ministry of Finance in 1997. In 2001, she replaced Dr. Richard Leakey as head of civil service and secretary to the cabinet. She remained the civil service boss until President Moi left office. In 2007, when Uhuru Kenyatta joined the opposition, Kosgei abandoned KANU and joined the Orange Democratic Movement Party under the tutelage of William Ruto. Then a principal in ODM in the Rift Valley region, she ran for the Aldai constituency seat and won. When the election results were released declaring Kibaki the president, her constituency was one of the most affected during the violent clashes that ensued. During the Kofi Annan-led reconciliation negotiations in Nairobi, ODM used Kosgei's consummate skills in reaching an agreement for Grand Coalition government, the government of national unity, headed by Kibaki as president with Odinga as prime minister. She was later rewarded with a ministerial post heading the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology. The coalition government created the new ministry, carving it out of the mainstream Ministry of Education. The new ministry's role would help to pass biotechnology bill and establish at least 4 technical universities. In 2010, Kosgei traded places with Ruto, becoming Minister for Agriculture in a reshuffle of the coalition government. Here, Kosgei helped distribute 490 metric tons of drought-tolerant seeds worth 78.8 million shillings that had been donated by the German government. The seeds were used in Ukambani region during the short rains of 2011. At the time, drought and famine were ravaging parts of the country. In the 2013 general election, she lost her seat to Colonel Sarem and was appointed Chancellor of Taita Taveta University in 2016. Kosgei has maintained a low profile from the public eye since she lost her parliamentary seat in 2013. Born on January 7, 1945, Raila Amolo Odinga first joined the cabinet in March 2001 when his National Development Party merged with President Daniel Arap Moi's KANU to form the new KANU. President Moi appointed Raila to the cabinet alongside other LDP leaders, serving as Minister for Energy between June 2001 and late 2002. In October 2002, Raila resigned as Minister for Energy and NDP left the government in a half-tagging along a host of KANU rebels who resigned over President Moi's succession debacle. The KANU renegades include Kalonzo Musyoka, Joseph Kamotho, and Professor George Saitoti, with whom Raila formed the Rainbow Movement, which would later merge with Mwai Kibaki-led National Alliance Party of Kenya (NAC) to form National Rainbow Coalition (NAC) in the same year, that is 2002. Raila is credited with making it easy for Mwai Kibaki to be the NAC 2002 presidential candidate through his famous Kibaki Tosha declaration at Nairobi's Uhuru Park. When NAC won elections on December 27, 2002, and Kibaki was sworn in, Raila joined the cabinet on January 3, 2003 as Minister for Roads, Public Works and Housing, where he served until 2005. It is worth noting that on assuming office, President Kibaki neither appointed Raila as Prime Minister Neither did he give Raila's LDP faction of NAC half of the cabinet positions as per the pre-election memorandum of understanding. This perceived betrayal started a simmering disquiet, which with time led an open rebellion and a split within the cabinet. The Kibaki side held that there was no constitutional provision that allowed for such appointment. During the referendum to change the constitution held on 21st November 2005, the Raila-led No or Orange side defeated the Kibaki-led Yes or Banana side by a 57% to 43% margin. A disappointed President Kibaki sacked the entire cabinet on 23rd November 2005. When Kibaki reconstituted the cabinet 2 weeks later, Raila and the rest of LDP leaders were left out. Raila formed a new opposition outfit, the Orange Democratic Movement ODM, with Kalonzo Musyoka. But in August 2007, ODM suffered a setback when Raila fell out with Kalonzo, and ODM split into two, with Raila becoming the head of ODM while Musyoka led the ODM Kenya Splitter faction. Raila disputed the results of the hotly contested 2007 presidential election, triggering the signing of power-sharing agreement in February 2008 with the formation of the Kofi Annan negotiated Grand Coalition government. Odinga was sworn in on 17 April 2008 as Prime Minister as part of the power-sharing cabinet. He served as the country's Prime Minister until the inauguration of Uhuru Kenyatta as the fourth president on the 9th of April 2013, when the country's constitution, promulgated in 2010, became effective. Well, that is Raila Odinga's service to the country as a member of the cabinet.
Welcome. Thank you for staying with us this far. We continue with Good Morning Kenya, and just from what you have been watching, just giving you a brief background of some of the leaders that are in the political space that we are currently in, especially so as we gear up for the general election. Now, away from that, we now want to move on to our segment, Women at the Forefront, all about women, all about breaking that glass ceiling and changing the narrative around the position of women here in Kenya and just shaping the different spaces that they always find themselves in. With us in studio this morning, we have Anne Mboro, who is the director at New Dimension College and also doubles as a counselor, a leadership coach, and a career coach. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Jane. I'm grateful. My name is Anne, as you have said.
Yes.
I'm Anne Mboro. I'm a career coach, a counselor, a founder, and the CEO of the New Dimension College, which was established since 2014. It is based in Nairobi, along Moi Avenue, and we have managed to open another campus in at Lamu, whereby we have a population of around 360 students. What makes me mostly to enjoy this field of education is that most of the youths, and especially the young turks, they don't find the importance. By the time the grades they score at high school, they find that it is not worth what maybe they wanted to attain. And at the end of the day, they find that they have just gone to another level of whereby it is not their passion. So I decided to open this campus, the New Dimension College, so that we can have a walk, we can walk together, we can have a journey with the students and especially youth until they reach the level they want in the education life of it.
All right, and just looking at the fact that you're quite passionate about this education space, what was it that initially got you into this space where you want to change the narrative around how the young people especially look at education and it not being something that I have to go through, but appreciating the value that they get as they go through the education?
Okay, what interested me most is that by the time I was in my high school levels, we were discussing and we were finding that most of the people, and especially those who have come from the various countries, they find that it is normally so hard for them to get to the education level or to the higher education of their choice. So they find that by the time they get their grades, and especially the low grades, they find that it is the end of them. Unlike you find that most of the people, or the students or the learners, they didn't understand that. If I tell you they scored their lowest level, that is, for example, the D-, they find that it is the end of it. It is the end of them. And then they find that they can just go and start doing these small jobs, like borders, they just go hawking, they just go to the college to make all that sort of low job, and not knowing that with the D-, they can just start there. That's why I decided to start this institution, because with the D-, they will start from there. They will walk with them a journey. They start with the D-, which they do what we call the artisan level. Now from there, they go to the certificate level. They go all through to the diploma level. And then at the end of the day, they find themselves walking in the corridors of the campuses of their choice.
And what impact have you seen with this institution that you set up, New Dimension College, that gives an opportunity for those that did not meet the college or university grades, entry-level grades required to join these higher institutions? What impact have you seen in these students that you have worked with?
In fact, I have seen a great change. I have seen a great impact of it. Because I have so many students who started from that grade, and most of them, they are working in these government ministries. We have all the cadres or the levels. We have the secretaries, we have the finance, the accountants, we have even those who are working in the bank, those who have started from the lowest level. Because there in the New Dimension, I normally make sure that apart from giving them education, apart from empowering them, we normally walk a journey with them. I have to make sure that I find the internship for them. We normally give them, look for them the job placement. And in fact, it has really changed the minds of especially so many youths who didn't know that this is the way to go. This is whereby we are supposed to follow. But you find them, even if you go to those ministries, most of them, they are the people who have walked through the New Dimension College.
And also looking at parents that have children that may have not performed as they would have desired for them to perform, and especially so looking at KCSE.
Yes.
Some parents are also a problem when it comes to allowing their children to pursue further education, especially if they didn't perform very well, getting those grades that are considered to be low.
Yes.
Dealing with parents that are refusing to allow their children to even venture into this opportunity that you've set up with New Dimension, how do you advise or even just guide parents with children that did not perform well and are not opening them up to such opportunities?
Okay, very good. It is very true, Jane, as you are saying. There are those parents, they have that thinking that I took you to the school, you never performed. So the best thing you are going to do, you just look for other things to do, which is very bad. So, but I don't blame the parents. It's how they have, it is in them. It is lack of that knowledge or lack of that exposure, that even if the students have not passed well according to how they have expected, they didn't know that there is another chance. They can just go and do what we call the bridging. We normally offer even the adult education, whereby the students, they just come, maybe they bridge for like 3 subjects, whereby they want to bridge them, and then at the end of the day, they book the exam and they improve their grade. So which allows them to go to the career of their choice. And with this career also, we normally work with them this journey of choosing the career. Because there are so many students whereby you find that they are normally stuck with the career of their choice. They just do this career because I have my uncle who is doing it, I have my auntie who is a doctor somewhere, I want to do it. But they are doing it because there's somebody they can see, there's somebody who is inspiring them to do it. It is not what they can do best at. So with that one, you normally find that most of the graduates, and especially even those who are in the various campuses, they just go and choose the long choice of the course. They just go there for like 2 years and then they drop. Whereby you find that it's so much expensive and it costs the parents a lot. So the parents end up giving up, and then at the end of the day, the students, most of them, they drop out. So in New Dimension, or me as Ann Boro, the career coach, before you join in my institution or before you join the New Dimension College, we normally sit down. We just walk the journey with you. First of all, I have to understand, who are you as Jane? Who are you? What inspires you? What gives you the greater length for you to do that career? And with that one, now from there, after working with you the journey, we just come up, and I normally advise them, no, you are not going to do this course. This is the course which suits you best.
Do you do this with all the students that get to enroll at New Dimension?
Yes, we normally have the career guidance day, whereby we normally do it in each and every intake. We normally have 3 intakes. That is, we have January, we have May, and we have September. So before those intakes, we normally have an open day, whereby we have to take them through each and every one. There are so many students who normally come there with, already they have selected their course. Yes, but they don't know the reason as to why. There are some whereby you find that there are those who normally say that I want to be, I'm doing this, I want to do the hospitality line. But you see that the attitude of that person, it cannot fit in that line.
Yes.
So we have to tell this person, you are not going to do this. And then we choose the career which exactly suits that person. And also another thing, by the time you are choosing the career, we not only put in our minds that you are going to be employed, we also mentor them, create them to be some people who can start their own job at the end of the day, because you know the market is flooded. Nowadays we have to train them on what best can you do. Apart from you are getting to this line for you to be employed, what else? What is this career going to be productive to you as a person?
Now we're going to be getting into that in just a bit, all about career coaching, given it is something that has sort of taken root in the recent times, where people are becoming more and more conscious about the career paths that they're choosing, because we're living in a time where people go through a whole 3-4 year course and end up doing something completely different from what they study. And it's the whole phenomenon of career mismatching. But before we get to that, you could just let us know if you are available on the social media platforms, so that our viewers can also interact with you and share any questions if they have.
Yes, we have the Facebook page, the New Dimension College, have my personal account and Boro on Facebook, and then we can find us on our website page, the www.co.ke at the New Dimension College, and also you can find us on our on our telephone numbers.
All right. So you can be able to check them out on social media and shoot any questions that you may be having to them. And you can also reach out to us using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle ever remains to be at KBC Channel 1 across all the social media platforms. We are streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as Facebook, YouTube, and our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke/KBC-live. We welcome your questions, any comments, or if you are just seeking clarification, we welcome you to share your thoughts. We will be addressing them as and when they come in. But before we get to continue, let us catch a very, very quick breather. We will be back to pick up with this conversation at that particular point of career mismatching. Do stay with us.
Finally, the wait is over. The Sundowner Sunset date is back. Saturday, 30th July 2022. The Grand Collabo, the gorgeous Catherine Donye and the wicked weekend man John Obongo Jr. together on one stage for the first time.
Meanwhile, some country.
Plus, Sir Elvis performing your favorite country hits live. All roads lead to the park in Kitengela, the land of Nyama Choma, for music, dance, food, drink, and so much fun. The Sundowner Sunset date, the Grand Collabo. Mark the date, Saturday, 30th July 2022. Tickets cost 500 shillings at the gate.
Nova, you killed my son. Today, I'll make you pay for what you've done.
Genova, wake up! Genova! Genova! Hang in there! Hang in there!
Genova! What's happening there?
On earth are you? How'd you get so brazen? No one can help you. Not even Genova.
Genova! 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 Genova!
都是家乡。
I'd like to officially welcome you to the coolest club in the 254. In other words, this is the best way to win.
Welcome back. We continue with today's conversation on women at the forefront with Anne Mboro with us in studio this morning. She is the director of New Dimension College and also doubles as a counselor, a leadership coach and a career coach. Now, picking up from where we left off, this phenomenon of career mismatching, what is your understanding of a career mismatch to start with before we delve deeper into this component of the discussion?
Okay, thank you, Jen. As I had said earlier, you modified that there is this career mismatch because most of the students, they just choose or pick what they never inspired to do. They just pick it because, as I had said earlier, because a brother, a sister, or a cousin has done it and is doing better in life. So you find that this one, with this career mismatch, it normally affects so many youths.
Yeah. Now, so at what point do you think we need to start talking to the youth that are especially just about to finish their high school studies and join the institutions of higher learning? At what point should we start having conversations around career paths and professions with them?
In fact, we are supposed, by the time they are in the second years, that is when we are supposed to speak or to talk to them about the career in great length, so that by the time they are choosing their courses and their careers, they can just understand themselves. As I had said there earlier on, first of all, before you choose a career, you have to understand, to know who is Anne, who is Jane. Is she compassionate about whatever he or she is intending to do? And that's by the time we normally do the interviews, we normally interview the people in various posts. We normally ask them, what is your hobbies? What are their hobbies? Because maybe you have chosen a career, and you have chosen a career which involves a lot of traveling, and that is not your hobby. Your hobby is just to stay indoors. You are very reserved. You don't like traveling at all. So we have first of all to have to understand and to know who are you before, by the time we are guiding you on your career to which you are going to choose. Because we like now, we have gone to the world is growing at a very rapid rate.
Yes.
And you find that there are so many job opportunities which are coming up, and because this one and especially the youth nowadays, they just like to use the shortcuts. So you find that I want just to use the shortest route, the shortest limited time, so that I can just graduate and attain this course. Finally, you find that this course needs the practical skills, and this person, they just did only the theory part of it. So once it comes to the technical or the practical part of it, you find that person is completely stuck. Yes, you go to the interview, you just praise your papers there. Yes, you are qualified according to your papers, but you as a person, you are not qualified. So because you have done the IT, you have done it to all levels, you have graduated, because like in our case, our institution, we normally, for the diploma cases, we normally start from the first level, second level, and third level. So, and we find that according to your transcripts, you have really passed very well. Then you find that you did it because you are doing it as a group in class, and maybe it helped you to pass. But practically, you are not good in it. So by the time you go to that organization, to that big office, and then you are given the department of the IT, you can't be able to control. You can't be able to learn the software engineering and all that. So you find that that person is completely stuck. So you find that there is this career mismatch because definitely you chose the wrong career choice. Whereby you find that you get there, you are so disappointed, you can't deliver to the organizations, you promised them that you're going to deliver everything and beautiful, and then you cannot do it.
All right. Now, what about the young people? Because arguably so many people are talented, and you find, let me use myself as an example. I may be very naturally good at doing something, but my interests are not in that area. They're in another area that I need to undergo training in order to be able to perform in that area, but I am naturally gifted in this other area of profession. How do you advise people in such fields, in such a situation rather?
Okay, whereby you are talented in this, you can just do it with that area. If at all you are talented in that, we don't discourage people not to do it. We tell them to go, strive, take it, go for it.
But what if your interests are not in that area, but you're good at it, very naturally so, but you're not interested in that particular area?
You say, Jane, everything you do, the line you take, first of all, you must be passionate in it. You must be interested. Because if at all you have that, you are interested in it, you are good at it, but you are not interested, definitely you'll be doing it, it's like a norm. We just encourage people, and especially the youths, do what you are interested in. And I'm going to go back to the beginning. First of all, who are you? You have to be passionate in that area for you to deliver effectively.
Okay.
So by the time, if at all you can just do this, you are very good in it, but you are not interested. We just encourage the youth. We just take them a journey. We show the better part of it. What can you do it at your level base? Until you can sometimes normally find that I'm not very good at it, and then you start developing that likeness as time goes. Okay. So we just encourage people, and we encourage the youth, if at all you can do this, and especially nowadays, we just look what can you start, and start giving you some income. And then if at all you are good at it, you just go for it. Start having that likeness of it.
All right.
And then you find it, at the end of the day, you're good to go.
You're good to go. But we also have a category that struggle with parental and guardian influence in the type of career professions they choose to go into. Do you have such situations, such cases where some students are being directed by their parents or caregivers to take on a certain career path that you can clearly see is not a good match for them?
Definitely. In fact, Jane, that is the one which is very common in the institutions. The parent is the one who is choosing for you. And for you as a student, you're not passionate in it. So you find that the students, they normally come there. They just waste a lot of time. Because definitely, if at all it's not in you, you find that the first exam you have done, you have completed a whole year, you have got like 4 referrals. And then you say, some students, they just go to an extent, even telling me, because first of all, I'm a very great friend of these students. We work with them the journey. They tell me, Madam Ann, first of all, I have to inquire, why is it that you are performing so badly in this course? Then they say that, first of all, I'm not passionate in it. I don't have an interest in it. So, and why did you decide it? Because I was pushed for. So I'm doing it for the sake of the parent. After I finish, I'll take the certificate to the parent, and then I'll start my course. So you find that the student normally get wasted. So what even I can advise the parents, don't force your kids to do what they are not good at. Talk with them, discuss, inquire, have a mentor. At least let that student have a mentor who can even guide and direct the student on what to do. Because by the time you are doing this, you want your kid to be a teacher because personally you are a teacher and you are doing good and you are doing well, and that is not his area. You find that at the end of the day, that student will do the course, will waste her time there, and the resources also, and then at the end of the day, the student will go back to the course of his or her choice.
Now, let's come to these students that are already in your institution, and they have taken the different courses that they have chosen to take, and they are now ready to get into the job market. One big complaint that we have always been seeing from so many employers is that there's so many graduates and those that have completed their studies joining the labor market, and they do not even know how to handle themselves. They don't know how to put together a CV, a cover letter, or even just a professional profile for themselves. Is this part of what you prepare the students at your institutions to know how to just even put together a professional CV that is up to date and keeping up with the times?
Yes, great. We normally take them a journey from how to do first of all, you choose your career, you go through it, then from there, how to prepare the best job. First of all, you take the career which suits the job market, which is competitive, and then we just connect them with the employers. We help them to do a very good cover letters. We help them to prepare them during the interviews, or what they are supposed to do before, on, during, and after the interview. We normally prepare them. And in fact, I can assure you, Jane, our students who normally go for the interview, we have never seen a person, even a single one, have not seen even a single one who has been disqualified during the interview, because we normally take them during that journey. And we don't not only do them orally, we just do them even the practically. And then we show them how to do a very good resume, so that whereby the resume they are doing, the ones they are lighting, is not so much, it's not having so much black. You know, by the time a certain job opportunity has come up or arise and it has been advertised, you find as the HR managers and others who are the panelists who are doing these people the interview, they have a lot. There are thousands and thousands of these resumes. So they don't have time to go reading each and every one. So the presentation, the cover letter itself, it tells it all. Because they just have to look at the cover letter, they put this one is going to be shortlisted, the others they are put aside. So we normally prepare them very well, so that we normally make sure that we are very certain if this person is going for an ICT job, this person, point number one, this person is well trained. Point number two, this person can be in a position to present him or herself in whichever area, whether theoretically or practically. This person can be in a position to do it very well. Now from there, what do you have? Your package, your letters, your certificates, how are they? Are they good? Yes, they are good. We make sure that we have totally prepared you. From there, we have the resume. How is it? Is it selling itself? Because you don't have to talk so much about yourself in your resume and what I want for you to do into my organization. Which impact are you going to bring to my institution or to our organization? Okay. What value add are you going to bring it? Because every employer is not looking how much you have, the certificates you have, the quantity you have. They just look what value add are you going to bring. So we normally take them through that journey.
Now, speaking of value addition, here you are now, you have been able to secure internship or employment for some of the students that have gone through the training. Now when they're in the job market, from what you have seen and the different from the different employers that you have interacted with, are they able to keep up with the industry demands, the labor market demands that they are in the industries that they are joining? And if they are not, what are some of those loopholes that you have identified, and how are you looking to ensure that in the future we'll be focusing on fixing some of these challenges that we have heard from the employers that have taken some of these students?
Yes, what I can say that if at all the student is not well prepared, we normally have those loopholes, as I have said that earlier on, that there are those who have done it theoretically but not practical wise. They are not, because even personally I have seen it with the employers which I had employed.
And it's a big challenge for entry level, anyone in the entry levels positions.
Yes. So you find that this person, according to what you can see, that you see that this person is well qualified according to their resumes and all that. But by the time you go there, the main challenge is that. And that's why it's very, very recommendable. And I normally recommend the students, immediately after they graduate, they go for internships. At least they have that exposure, they have that experience. Because the freshers, they just normally go there. They have no idea of what they are going to do. And there are those who are very quick learners. There are those slow learners. So there are those who are willing to learn. So you find that without that knowledge, they just go and mess up. And that's why you find that there is very high labor turnover in most of the institutions, because whatever they are looking for to these people, they don't have. But whatever they have promised in their resumes, it's wonderful. It's heaven. But so you just employ that person, knowing that that person is going to deliver, and which is a very big challenge to most of the organizations, because the high staff turnover, it just brings a bad reputation to the organization. And then you find that most of the people are saying that they don't know how to retain their employees, they don't blah blah and all that. But the problem is not the organization. The problem is the employees, but the employers, employees. But what I can just advise even the organizations, before they just employ, even if they recruit so many people, it is good first of all to take them for the training before absorbing them, so that they can have that idea, they can have that knowledge of what they are doing, because at the end of the day it will be very much expensive to the organization. They have recruited, they have done a lot, and then at the end of the day, the people or the employees who are going to be there, they are doing very shoddy job.
Now, this also brings me back to now, your side as the educator, and just speaking to the larger group of those that are offering these courses. When it comes to equipping these young people with these soft skills that are very personal, from the way they communicate to how they groom themselves to handling worker pressure, knowing boundaries and respecting boundaries, integrity and the likes, is it something that you feel every institution should also include in the training process to equip these young people with some of these soft skills that are not as pronounced in the training but are necessary in the labor market?
Yes, very good. It is normally, and also we normally just train them about the soft skills. Without these soft skills, they are key. They are very, very key in every person, and that one is what determines the person. Who is this person? Because if at all you are there, you are very poor in time management, you are very poor in communication, you are very poor. You are very poor in relating with others. So you find that even if you just go out, you cannot be in a position to change. If at all you are the one who is always right in your chores, it will never change. It is in you. So we normally train them, we normally talk to them, we normally work with them and try to train them, whereby most organizations, they just overlook this, the soft skills. Because the person will, because by the time people are hustling or looking for a job, if at all you just find one, you find that place for like 1 month, the person will be very punctual. But it is not within that person. It's not in him. He's doing that because already he has gotten a new job. But the real sense, the real person will come out after that 1 month. You find that the person is always right, coming that minutes, after 1 hour, leaving very early in the morning, just doing the technical appearance. Because what that person lacked from the word go is the soft skills, which is very key in molding or making somebody.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest challenges that most people face when they join the labor market, the employment industry. You are unable to cope with and keep up with the people skills that you need in order to keep that job aside from your professional qualifications. So it's definitely an area that needs to be focused on. Now, let's move on to the next aspect of what you do, and this is leadership coaching. From where you do, how you do it, and how, for the time you have been doing it, how would you define leadership coaching?
Okay, this is a very key and a broader thing about the leadership coaches. So you find that for somebody to be a leader, leaders, they are normally born, they are not made. And you find that with this key, leaders are the people, or if at all you want to have the leadership skills in you, these people, they have to see, they are visionary people. They are people who see what other people don't see. They are the people who act swiftly, unlike the other peoples. These are peoples who are motivators. So without that motivation, without motivation aspect in you, you cannot just bring up the leadership key in you. You see, you cannot force things. You cannot force to read, but it just comes automatically. And that's why you normally see something is amiss, something is missing in this gap, and you want to fill the gap. A leader will always see that. There are some times whereby you can fight maybe your team, your colleagues, your whatever, you have met in an unspecified place. It was not planned, but you find yourself already there. So a leader will just come, or somebody who has this leadership will just come and pick up from there. Maybe you are there, you don't know, you are maybe hanging out, but you have just come as a team. So you find that the person is already seeing what others are not foreseeing. And with this key, the key thing about the leadership and all that, it's something which comes from somebody.
Yes.
It is in you. And you cannot pretend and start having or acting. It's not like acting. You must be having it. Then, with this one, and that's why by the time I was setting up the New Dimension College, I decided, I saw that there is a big team. There is this big team of the students. Before I started the New Dimension College, I was employed. And I saw that there is so many things, apart from being employed, there are so many things these students are lacking. They are lacking that person, a friend to work with. They are lacking somebody to reason to. You know, a reader must reason to somebody. There is a conversation. You cannot force things. You just have to work with somebody. So I decided, I saw that there is a lot of gap. Because apart from training these students, we just train them and then they just go. They don't have, no one is following up. But I saw that there is need for apart from these people being trained, it is good to follow up after their career path, after their higher education. Where do these people go? Because yes, they are being trained, but where do they go? So you have to follow them, reason, motivate, and look for them so that they can see that whatever they were doing, it was not a waste of time. So that one, it just comes from you.
Okay.
So with the leadership, the leadership coach, and then I just started making them, mentoring them. That apart from they are learning to be employed, they can be leaders too. They can be leaders too.
Yes.
They can start something else. They can start their own entrepreneurs and all that. Then from there, they definitely reach somebody.
Now, this leadership training, do you just offer it to the students that you interact with at New Dimension, or you also offer it to organizations that, you know, of course, there are leaders in different capacities in all organizations. Do you also offer it to organizations that are already in the job market?
Yes, very good. And in fact, there's leadership skills I normally not only to the students. In fact, the major people or the group of people those are the big the organizations, and we normally work aloud all over the country. We normally have various branches, and then we normally go to various organizations.
Okay.
Like in Lam County, we are great. We normally give these leadership tips to the community there at Lam County at large. There are other private organizations whereby we do them. We do the leadership skills and training to them. The students themselves,
yes,
or as well as those people who are in the working jobs opportunities and in the government ministries, because most of our students, they are the employees from the government. We normally go to them, we train them, we work with them this journey, and then at the end of the day, we normally go even to their seminars. Like there is another organization of the secretaries or the public secretaries, the civil servants of the government, whereby they have that organization called Kenasa. I normally go and talk to them. We normally discuss with them. I normally show them about the leadership skills and all that.
Okay.
And also the parastatals body.
All right. Yes. Now, as we close this conversation, there's your camera. You know, looking at the students who have finished their high school and they are struggling with the concept of having failed and not getting entry into any institutions of higher learning. What is your message to them? There's your camera. Go for it.
Okay, for those students who are just about to finish their schools, those who have finished, and those already they are looking for job opportunities and they are not somewhere they can just go, I'm telling you that this is the time. First of all, invest in yourself. If at all nobody can invest in you, invest in yourself. believe in yourself. Know that you, from where you are, don't be stuck there. There is another dawn. You can start from somewhere and then be somebody in the society, be somebody in future. It just starts, a journey starts with one step. And then from there, you find that you are already somewhere. Just come to the New Dimension College. I'll take you a path, I'll take you a journey, and definitely we shall be somewhere. To the parents, your son or your daughter, that person never failed in life. That person has got a future. That person has got a long way to go. That is our future leader. So make an effort of bringing that person to me. Make an effort of bringing that person to the New Dimension College. It doesn't matter, irrespective of the grade. You can start from the lowest, then go to the highest. To that person who chose the long choice of the course or career, there is always another chance.
All right.
So just come. We start afresh. We start with you. One thing I can promise you is that we are going to walk a journey with you. We are going to walk with you until you realize your dream. Make sure that you chase your dream, go for it, and you see the results. Thank you.
Those are the words of Ann Mburu, who is a counselor, a leadership coach, a career coach, and doubles as the director of New Dimension College. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Jen. I'm very much humbled.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Now that brings us to a close of the program. Thank you for your time. My name is Jen Wamboy. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Long before joining active politics, Maina Wanjigi, born in 1931, came to the public limelight when soon after independence, founding President Jomo Kenyatta appointed him Director of Settlement to oversee the implementation of the 1 million acre settlement scheme meant to create homes for more than 1 million Kenyans whose land had been grabbed by the colonialists. Wanjigi joined active politics when contest in the November 1969 Kamukunji constituency by-election occasioned by the assassination of Tom Mboya, the eloquent right-wing Minister for Planning. The former MP takes credit for initiating and developing the expansive open-air Gikomba market in his constituency. Another project that he took pride in was helping to establish the Juekali informal business sector in Shauri Moyo. In a speech he delivered in Parliament in June 1973, Wanjigi advocated for free primary school education for all, something the country would realize 30 years later. In 1970, founding President Jomo Kenyatta appointed Wanjigi Assistant Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture headed by Bruce Mackenzie. In 1976, Wanjigi was among politicians opposed to the Change the Constitution debate meant to bar the then Vice President Daniel Moi from being the automatic President Kenyatta's successor. In the 1979 general election, the first under President Moi, Wanjigi lost his seat to Nicholas Gore, who was the former chairman of the Luo Union in Nairobi. In December 1979, President Moi appointed Wanjigi chairman of Kenya Airways. When President Moi restructured his cabinet following a snap election in 1983 in an effort to solidify his authority in view of the 1982 attempted coup, he appointed Wanjigi to the cabinet as Minister for Tourism and Wildlife. Wanjigi had recaptured his Kamukunji parliamentary seat in the snap elections. It was during his time in the ministry that the dream to have Kenya receive 1 million tourists by 1988 was unveiled. This would, however, did not happen until 2010, 22 years after Wanjigi's projected date. Wanjigi was moved to the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. In another cabinet reshuffle, Moi moved Wanjigi to the Ministry of Cooperative Development. Working closely with Permanent Secretary Andrew Ligale and Commissioner for Cooperatives Erastus Morethi, he led the ministry in establishing savings and credit cooperative societies across the sector and countrywide. It was during his tenure that Cooperative Bank was launched. Wanjigi was then transferred to the Ministry of Agriculture, where he had cut his teeth as a young professional in the 1960s. In 1990, he was expelled from the ruling party KANU during the clamor for multi-party politics in 1990. Then presumed an enemy of the President Moi regime, Wanjigi was arrested, interrogated and held at the Langata police station for 3 days before being taken to court. No charges were preferred against him. When Section 2A of the Constitution was repealed, Wanjigi entered an unfamiliar arena of opposition politics and joined Kenneth Matiba's Foda Sili faction of the original Forum for the Restoration of Democracy Ford Party. He and others in the opposition tried to bring together Matiba and Jaramogi Odinga's Ford factions in order to defeat KANU in the 1992 general election. When these failed, he and others took over the Kenya National Congress KNC party in the hope that it would hold the middle ground that ostensibly sensible politicians from both factions would turn to and eventually turn the tables on KANU. But the politicians from both sides of the Ford divide stood their ground and KNC was thrown out of the political contest. Wanjigi vied for the Kamukunji seat on a KNC party ticket and lost coming fourth. The seat was won by Foda Sili's George Nthenge. In 1997, Wanjigi moved to his home base of Mathioya constituency in Nyeri district to vie on a Foda Sili ticket. The incumbent was KANU Secretary General Joseph Kamotho. Both were badly defeated by the hitherto unknown Ford People candidate Francis Githiari. Wanjigi bowed out of politics and focused on his business empire under the umbrella of Kwacha Group of Companies. He was also the chairman of the SOS Children's Home Program in Kenya for 25 years. Reporting for the Cabinet, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party.
Semeni Babakea. Babakea.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
All I know, God is holy. Protect your life if you wanna know.
I got a new name for them. We call them the weathermen.
On fire, Papa Bilateral. Why we afraid of you when now you fear protect me? Can't trust a system we're designed to fail me. People of the country, nobody going like we get far, we blind now, we just can't feel.
I'm living a dream, yeah.
Nimesahau koti langu ndani. Kaini.
Are you guys fighting again?
Yeye alikuwa anatumia tu opportunity kuzengua hivi ya kuibia pesa na kuna ujinga huo. Oh, kwa hivyo ndo maana ukamteka nyara, sio?
What is going on? It's my mom and my dad.
Niachie mwenyewe matatizo wangu bana.
Sitaki maana lolote. unajua utakasirika sana na hata inaweza kufanya relationship yetu iende.
Hii ni Mitikasi leo, makala kutoka BBC. Yaliyomo, tunaweka bayana vikwazo na changamoto zinazozuia mauzo ya bidhaa na huduma nje ya Afrika. Baadaye, wafugaji wa Kenya wasaka masoko zaidi ya kimataifa kwa mauzo ya mifugo yao. Na kisha Sudan yafungua tena mpaka kati yake na Ethiopia. Hii inamaanisha nini kwa biashara? Tunakujia kutoka Nairobi, Kenya. Twende kazi. So dakta, karibu katika habari za biashara zinazokuhusu, uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Mimi ni Peter Mwangangi. Sasa Afrika ni miongoni mwa kanda ambazo hazijapanua wigo wa mauzo ya bidhaa na huduma nje ya bara. Sasa asilimia 45 ya chumi zinazotegemea mauzo ya bidhaa pekee duniani ziko hapa Afrika, huku nchi 45 kati ya 54 barani zikitegemea mauzo ya bidhaa kwa zaidi ya asilimia 60. Ripoti mpya ya shirika la Umoja wa Mataifa la biashara na maendeleo UNCTAD inasema kwamba hali haiwezi kubadilika iwapo vikwazo havitalegezwa katika upatikanaji wa mitaji kwa sekta ya utoaji huduma, hasa kwa biashara ndogo na za kati. Aidha, changamoto za kifedha zimefanya mataifa kama vile Nigeria, Ghana na Ethiopia kukosa kujiendeleza katika sekta yake ya magari. Nchini Zambia, mauzo ya bidhaa huchangia asilimia 90 ya mauzo yote ya nje ya nchi, lakini kudorora kwa soko la madini ya shaba duniani kumezuia uwekezaji wa kibinafsi nchini humo na kuzidisha madeni. Awali nilizungumza naye Conrad John Masabo, mhadhiri msaidizi katika chuo kikuu kishiriki cha elimu Dar es Salaam. Nilianza kwa kumuuliza jinsi Afrika inaweza kubadilisha utegemezi wake kwa mauzo ya bidhaa nje ya bara hili.
Afrika inaweza kubadilisha hali hii kwa kufanya vitu viwili. Moja, kwanza kuimarisha uhusiano wa kikanda, na hivi sasa limeanzishwa soko la pamoja la Umoja wa Afrika, na hivi tukilitumia hili soko ambalo lina takriban watu bilioni 1.3 na lenye kuweza kuleta thamani ya biashara inayofikia karibia dola bilioni 3.4, Afrika inaweza kuachana kabisa na kuuza bidhaa nje ya nchi na kulitumia hili kikamilifu na kuwaletea manufaa wananchi wake, kwa sababu tunapouza bidhaa ghafi zaidi tunawapa ajira na mafao mengi wale tunaowauzia. Na hili ni lazima tulichukulie kwenye muktadha. Chanzo cha Afrika kuuza bidhaa ghafi nje ya bara la Afrika linatokana na ukoloni tuliowekewa na kugeuzwa kuwa wazalishaji wa bidhaa ghafi. Na hivi ni lazima tuachane nalo kwa kuimarisha biashara ya ndani na kuongeza thamani ya bidhaa zetu ndani mwa bara la Afrika na kutumia masoko ya kikanda na jumuiya za kikanda kikamilifu.
Umetaja uuzaji wa bidhaa ghafi kama changamoto moja. Ni changamoto zipi zingine ambazo zinazuia Afrika katika kupanua wigo wa mauzo ya bidhaa na huduma nje ya bara hili?
Ni mfumo mzima wa uchumi wa dunia. Uchumi wa dunia ulivyojengeka, umejengeka kuweka mabara fulani kuwa kama mabara yanayozalisha bidhaa ghafi. Kwa Afrika tunalazimika kutuma bidhaa ghafi kwa sababu tunawekewa masharti mengi. Na haya masharti ndio yanasababishwa tuogope kupeleka bidhaa ambazo tayari tumezichakata. Kumbuka madhara aliyoipata nchi kama Zimbabwe kwenye soko la AGOA. Kumbuka kuna nchi nyingi zimejaribu kutumia masoko ya nje, Ethiopia wapi. Zote zikifika mahali zinawekewa viwango vikubwa kiasi kwamba zile bidhaa ukizichakata hupati soko, lakini ukiuza ghafi wanazinunua. Kwa hiyo njia pekee ni sisi kuimarisha soko la ndani ambalo litakubali kununua bidhaa za ndani, na hivi tukisha kuwa na ile soko la ndani, hawa watu tutaweza kuwa na sauti ya kuambia kwamba sisi tunachotaka kuwauzia ni hiki na sio bidhaa ghafi kama mnavyotaka nyinyi.
Uchumi wa Afrika umeathirika sana hasa katika siku za hivi karibuni, janga la COVID na vile vita vya vilivyoko Ukraine. Je, ni hatua gani zinazohitajika sasa kuimarisha hali?
Njia pekee mojawapo ni kuongeza uzalishaji wa ndani, kisha kuweza kuchakata mazao ndani, na hivi kuimarisha miundombinu ya kufikisha mazao kwenye maeneo ya kuchakata na kuhifadhi. Kuna kiwango kikubwa cha mazao yanapotea kutokana na uhifadhi dhaifu. Kwa njia mojawapo Afrika inaweza kuimarisha ni kuhakikisha wanaimarisha mbinu za kuhifadhi chakula.
Kwa sasa tutupie macho taarifa zingine za biashara kutoka Afrika na kimataifa. Sudan imefungua tena kivuko muhimu cha mpaka wake na Ethiopia. Kivuko hicho cha Galabat ni muhimu kwa biashara na kilifungwa mnamo tarehe 27 Juni baada ya Sudan kuishtumu Ethiopia kwa kuwaua wanajeshi 7. Vikosi vya usalama vya Sudan vimesema sasa vitaimarisha doria ili kuzuia watu wenye silaha kuvuka. Uganda inatafuta mpango wa ufadhili kutoka kwa Marekani na Italia kwa mradi wake wa dola bilioni 4 wa kusafisha mafuta ghafi. Kiwanda hicho ambacho kinatarajiwa kusafisha mapipa 60,000 ya mafuta kwa siku kimekuwa na changamoto ya kupata wawekezaji kutoka kwa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kando na Kenya na Tanzania. Na Somalia imeruhusu tena mauzo ya miraa au mirungi kutoka Kenya baada ya kusimamishwa kwa miaka 2. Haya yanajiri baada ya Rais wa Somalia Hassan Sheikh Mahmud kumaliza ziara yake nchini Kenya Ijumaa. Nchi hizo mbili pia zilikubaliana kuanza tena mauzo ya samaki kutoka Somalia hadi Kenya na kufungua tena mipaka ili kurahisisha usafirishaji wa watu na bidhaa. Hii ni mitikasi leo kutoka BBC. Tutaangazia hivi punde ufugaji wa Kenya wasaka masoko zaidi ya kimataifa. Sasa kwa miaka 16 wakulima nchini Kenya hawajaweza kuuza mifugo yao nchini Saudi Arabia, taifa ambalo ni soko kuu kwa biashara ya mifugo. Hilo limewalazimu wafugaji wengi kuuza mifugo yao ndani ya nchi. Lakini sasa mambo yanabadilika baada ya taifa hilo kuondoa marufuku iliyoweka. Je, wakulima wanajipanga vipi kunufaika na fursa inayojitokeza? Mwanahabari wa BBC Victor Kenani amekuwa akifuatilia.
John Mashati ni mkulima mdogo Olpusimoru, kijiji kidogo katika mpaka wa Kenya na Tanzania. Amekuja sokoni akitaraji kuuza kondoo wake, lakini bei ni mbaya na hawezi kuuza.
Leo anakuja na kondoo 35. Saa hii sijauza hata moja. Unaelekea kurudi nyumbani kwa sababu hii biashara ni mbaya.
Kondoo wake ni sehemu ya mifugo itakayouzwa nje ya nchi. Maelfu ya wakulima wengine kama yeye wanauza mifugo yao katika masoko madogo, wanatumai kuwa bei itaimarika kutokana na ongezeko la hitaji ya mifugo baada ya biashara ya kuuza nje ya nchi kurejea. Vyama vya mashirika vinawasaidia wakulima kama hawa kwa kuwapa mafunzo jinsi ya kuwatunza mifugo wao na kuwatafutia soko.
Salama sana.
Wilson Rakwa ni mfugaji anayechukua mkondo wa biashara. Anawanunua mifugo kutoka kwa wakulima kuwanonesha kabla ya kuwauza.
Hizi ng'ombe ya biashara nimenunua mwezi wa 3. Na nilishanga miezi 4 ama 5. Sikiongeza makilo nitausia mtu, kama nitapeleka kwa soko, nikipata market nitauza kwa shamba.
Mnamo Januari mwaka 2021, Kenya ilianza tena kusafirisha mifugo hadi Oman, nchi ya kwanza ya Mashariki ya Kati kuondoa marufuku hiyo. Shehena hiyo ilikuwa ya wanyama takriban 40,000. Lakini nchi hii ina uwezo wa kuuza nje zaidi ya wanyama 500,000 kila mwaka. Wakulima wengi hawawezi kuuza nje moja kwa moja na lazima wategemee madalali. Hii ni kwa sababu wafanyabiashara wanaouza nje lazima wafuate sheria kali za usafirishaji na wanahitaji pesa nyingi na wanyama kuwa katika biashara. Judy Wanja ni mwanabiashara anayeuza mifugo na nyama nje ya nchi. Yeye ni kiungo muhimu akiwaunganisha wakulima na soko la nje.
Wanyama sio kazi kidogo kutayarisha. Kile ambacho kinahitajika tu kwa kufanya wanyama ambao wako hai ni kuhakikisha kwamba umefuata mkataba wa Kenya na ile nchi ambayo unatumia. Kwa mfano kuna zile sindano lazima zidungwe. Kuna zile chanjo lazima wanyama wapewe. Kuna zile vipimo, kuna hizo tests ambazo lazima zifanywe.
Baada ya wanyama hao kukusanywa, usafirishwa hadi kwenye sehemu ya malisho kama hii eneo la Voi, pwani ya Kenya, ambako hutayarishwa ili kusafirishwa nje ya nchi.
Hapa tunawanyunyizia dawa mifugo ili kumaliza wadudu. Pia tunaweka alama za kuwatambulisha na kisha tunawapima uzani na kuwalisha.
Sekta ya mifugo nchini inachangia 30% ya jumla ya mauzo ya kilimo. Hiyo ni takriban 10% ya pato la taifa la uchumi. Idadi hii inaweza kuongezeka ikiwa uuzaji nje ya nchi utakuwa. Lakini hii si fursa ya wazi kwa taifa hili. Uuzaji nje ya Kenya unakabiliwa na ushindani mkubwa kutoka Afrika Kusini, ambayo inaongoza orodha ya mauzo ya wanyama hai barani Afrika, ikifuatiwa na Cote d'Ivoire, Msumbiji, Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo na Botswana.
Kwa kawaida lazima kama serikali tusaidie wafugaji wetu kutafuta soko, kwa sababu soko ya kigeni inahitaji serikali kwa serikali. Sasa tumepata pia masoko zingine, we are negotiating na countries kama Malaysia. Zamani ilikuwa tunauza tu katika the Middle East, Warabuni, lakini sasa tumeenda zaidi.
Tuvuke mpaka sasa tuelekee Tanzania, ambapo serikali imetenga zaidi ya dola milioni 30 ili kutekeleza mradi wa kudhibiti sumu kuvu, yani aflatoxin, ambao unalenga kuelimisha jamii kuhusiana na athari na udhibiti wake. Mradi huu unatarajiwa kumalizika mnamo mwaka 2024. Abubakar Famau na taarifa zaidi.
Ni mmoja wa wakulima wa mazao ya mahindi na karanga kutoka wilaya ya Kongwa mkoani Dodoma hapa nchini Tanzania. Mkulima huyu ni miongoni mwa wakulima takriban 4,000 katika wilaya hii waliopata mafunzo ya kukabiliana na sumu kuvu.
Kwa hiyo kipindi cha nyuma ilikuwa shida sana, yani vitu kama hivi kuonekanika bila elimu tulikuwa tunapata shida sana. Ila kwa sasa hivi imeshakuwa kila kitu yani tunakijua.
Sumu kuvu inatokana na fangasi inayoota kwenye mbegu za nafaka. Hutokea wakati nafaka inapopata unyevunyevu na kusababisha kansa ya ini. Huenda tatizo la sumu kuvu likawa historia nchini Tanzania iwapo mradi ulioanzishwa na serikali wa miaka 5 utafanikiwa kama ilivyopangwa.
Katika magara yale ambayo tunajenga, tumeamua kuweka mini laboratory, yani maabara ndogo ambayo inaweza ikafanya upimaji wa awali ikajua kuna sumu au hakuna.
Mabadiliko haya yanakwenda sambamba na uanzishwaji wa sera na sheria ndogo ndogo ambazo zitawalazimu wakulima kufuata masharti ya utunzaji bora wa nafaka ili kuepusha madhara yatokanayo na sumu hiyo.
Kupitia hizi sheria ambazo zimewekwa, wakulima watafuata kama ambavyo wanafuata shuleni. Sasa hivi mwanafunzi asipokwenda shule anakamata mzazi anaikuwa ndani. Basi na sisi kwetu itakuwa hivyo.
Kumekuwa na changamoto ya sumu kuvu kwenye nafaka zinazosafirishwa nje ya Tanzania. Bila shaka tatizo hili linaweza kutatuliwa na kuongeza biashara zaidi kati ya nchi jirani.
Na iwapo ilikupita, serikali ya Tanzania imesema baada ya uchunguzi imebaini kuwa ugonjwa usiojulikana na unaoua watu kusini mwa nchi ni homa ya mgunda. Waziri wa Afya Umi Mwalimu amesema kuwa upimaji wa sampuli za wagonjwa waliokuwa wakiugua katika mkoa wa Lindi umethibitisha mlipuko huu kuwa ugonjwa unaoitwa kitaalam leptospirosis field fever. Mie ni Peter Mwangangi, kwa heri.
Kupata Yes My Love kama sikiza tune yako, dial *811 *816#.
Mutiso, wewe nafanya nini hiyo? Wacha nieleza, panataka hiyo kitu. Panataka Mutiso.
Mbo sasa hiyo tu unakuja unaanza kunizuzia kwa nini hata sijafanya kitu?
Wewe nieleza Mutiso.